Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you, to all of you, to this important conference on counter UAVs and air defense system. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest for the day, Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit, AVSM, VM, VSM, Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, Chairman of the Chiefs of Staff Committee, Headquarter IDS. Thank you, sir, for coming here. Thank you, sir. I would like to invite you to the dais, sir. I would also like to invite Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, AVSM, Deputy Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, Ops HQIDS. Thank you, sir, for being here with us. I would like to invite Shri Neeraj Gupta, our patron and the mentor of the Defense Committee of PHDCCI and Managing Director of MKU Limited. Neeraj, thank you so much for being here and supporting this initiative. Thank you so much. I would also like to invite Brigadier Monish Datta, our senior member of the Defense and HLS Committee of PHDCCI. Brigadier Monish Datta and the head of the defense business of DCM Shriram. Thank you, sir. I would also like to invite Colonel K.V. Kuber, the mentor for the Defense Committee and also the Director Aerospace and Defense of EY LLP, and a man behind preparing a knowledge report on this subject. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Before we begin this important event, I would like to request everyone to stand up for the national anthem to begin this proceedings.
Janagana mana adhinayak jaya hai, Bharat bhagya vidhata. Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha, Dravida Utkala Vanga. Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga, Uchchala Jaladhi Taranga. तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे, भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Thank you. I would also request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly come forward to light the lamp lighting ceremony. That's I would request the chief guest, the guest of honor, Neeraj Gupta ji, Colonel Kuber, Brigadier Monish Datta. I would also like to invite AVM Rajiv Ranjan, if you are there, sir. If you please come for the lamp lighting. Thank you, sir. It is our privilege to welcome you all to this important conference on the counter UAVs and air defense systems. Particularly, we're talking in context with India. With the rapid evolution of the drone technologies and the increasing proliferation of the unmanned aerial threat, it has become imperative for all the nations to take countermeasures and make an integrated air defense system and develop the capability. And India has been, the growing defense ecosystem has been growing very strong through its preparedness against the emerging challenges. And what is the important is the developing the advanced counter UAVs and the air defense system. Obviously, what has happened few months back and what we had seen experienced the Operation Sindhu. What we have showed is the air power, apart from air power, the air defense capability also, which as India had shown. And this is because of the developing rapidly changing technology which the Indian defense ecosystem has brought in. And the emerging UAV threats post Operation Sindoor has brought in, the potential for the new technologies, providing surveillance systems, precision strikes, and advantages for a low-cost solution for the air attacks. And the adversaries have actually known what kind of solutions are there existing there. So our industry needs to continuously and consistently develop new technologies to counter the air attacks and develop the own air defense system. And the vulnerability of the critical infrastructure is an important aspect where we are working, and we are trying to develop our own air defense system and the counter UAV solutions. And we have companies here, we have authorities here, we have experts here, and the chief guest and the guest of honor would be throwing some light on the subject. And what we have learned from the regional conflicts, whatever conflicts had been growing across the globe, had seen the usage of the UAVs and the counter UAVs that we have seen either in the Russian-Ukraine conflict, anywhere and everywhere. That is the non-conventional system of war which is being now being followed. And India, what has been following the policy of self-reliance, and we are indigenously developing our capabilities. And there are many companies, technology companies, the defense technology companies like MKU, and there are many companies here. So they are working on the new solutions which provide us the capability to protect our civilian areas, our critical infrastructure, our military installations against any adversaries, threats. So this conference is important because this conference, the whole idea of organizing this conference started when we actually interacted with the MGS branch, and they wanted us to do conference on two subjects. One was the ammunition, which we did last month, and the MGS was there, the Secretary DP was there, and it was a very well attended conference, and we brought on a paper also, a roadmap also. And similarly, this time also we have prepared a paper which will be released during this inaugural session, and Colonel Kuber would be throwing some light on that during his theme address. So, thanks to our chief guest of honor, and the industry experts for being a part of this conference. I would now like to invite Colonel K.V. Kuber, the Director of Aerospace and Defense, EY LLP, to kindly give a theme address, a brief theme address, and just a brief about the report which has been prepared, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nasir Bhai. I'd like to begin with an advice that Lord Krishna gave to the greatest army commander of all times, Arjuna, in the Mahabharata. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yadyata charati sreshtaha sasta deve sarojanaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastar anuvartate. What it means is, Yadyata charati sreshtaha, in whichever way the leader does, Tasta deve sarojana, rest of the people will follow in the same manner. Sayat pramanam kurite, whatever standards he sets. Lokasta anuvartate, the rest of the command, under command, will follow the same standards. Air Marshal Dikshit sir, Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, members on the dais, Neeraj Gupta ji, one of the most dynamic persons in the industry who focuses on exports in bringing exports to the country, and Brigadier Datta, Monish, DCM Sriram doing extremely well, Nasir Bhai, officers in uniform, veterans, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Since we started with what Lord Krishna said, Yadyata Sreshta, I want to give you a glimpse of what Sreshta has done. What has happened in the last about 1 week is something transformational. And I want to start with that and say, as far as this conference is concerned, what does the TPCR indicate to us? If I were to count line by line, I counted something like 10,935 UAVs and counter-UAS systems. 10,935. And when I really see the TPCR, which in the former days when it was formed, the first one when it came out in 2008, it was supposed to be aligned with the 15-year roadmap, the LTIPP. Nowadays, the services are following what is called as a 10-year map. But somewhere in between the lines, I read in the TPCR that this is a 5-year requirement. So what we are going to see is a 5-year requirement. There are UAVs of all types. UAVs 4140. Combat engineers itself are looking at around 300, 360. EW and communication looking around another 2,000, 3,000 RPAs and EWs and UAVs. CBRN is looking close to about 30 of them. And there are 8 target indicators, target about 300. In addition, there are about 560 RPAs which are there. And these are including the stratospheric airship, the hybrid RPA, the medium altitude, long endurance RPAs, and the combat RPAs. Then we have CUAS systems itself, which are airborne systems which we are talking about. They themselves count about 715. High altitude pseudo satellites, anti-RPA defense systems, supersonic aerial targets, stealth UCAVs, hard kill UAS systems. Loitering munitions by themselves around 3,650. And there we have, the FRCVs. All of them are going to carry some sort of a LM. And light tanks are going to carry loitering munitions, tethered drones, CUAS systems, 400 each. UAV launched precision guided missiles, smart loitering, BVLOS munitions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think Shrestha has done their job. I think that job has been done extremely well, and I think as we are going to see, Op Sindoor actually set the tone for the world. Forget about India. It set the tone for the world as to how wars can be graduated to a manner in which you can put the enemy to shame. And I was, I was very happy seeing that fellow in the cricket pitch, showing that bat up. But what he missed out was he was pointing the barrel to himself. So that's what Pakistan does, and we've been doing that. So there are a number of technologies which are coming up in counter UAS, in air defense, and I'm surprised to see many of the EPs. We are looking at mostly wideband jamming. The world over, nobody talks of wideband jamming. We have to go specific to how to follow the hops, how to address different types of modulations, DWDM, FHTDMA, FH, how many hops can you follow and things like that. And therefore, I think a combination of smart, spot, and sweep jamming is something that I think the world is looking at. And then there are a number of strategies that have come out from the conflicts. In fact, we have followed it very thoroughly. I have something like a 200-slide presentation on various equipments that have been used in both places. But what baffles me most is what Israel has done. And they can actually swing the battle from one side to the other by effective jamming and effective countermeasures, which include lasers, which include DWs, which include so many others, which we are going to talk as we go forward. Cost dynamics are very important when we say this, and that's where the industry comes in. So, Yadyata Charti Shrestha, so the Deve Sarojana, you people, the industry has to now come up with investing in technologies, with investing in future technologies. And I was very, very happy to see again in the TPCR, if you see towards the end, when you see the headquarter ideas putting out those technologies, they have talked about quantum, they have talked about the future technologies that are there, about at least 30 of them. And they have left it for the imagination of the industry as to how we are going to bring those technologies in. And while we do that and give those demonstrations, I think they're going to see that. I'll quickly introduce this paper. Where this is, I think, this particular paper which is going to be released a little while from now was prepared by Sugosha Advisory. The MD herself has prepared that, and it talks about what is from basics. What is CUAS? Important things about CUAS. What are the military roles? Close air support, electronic warfare, suppression of air defense, BMC-2 battle management and C2 aerial refueling, strategic bombing, combat search, swarming, and then we've discussed some key mission use cases, and then the components in the CUAS from the radar systems, and then the defeat mitigation options, identification, classification, command control, and various technologies that have been used in the CUAS, including some of the trends that are happening across the world in terms of adoption of EM and RF jamming systems, and the deployment of DEWs in a most effective and innovative manner, because at the end of the day, DEWs at sometimes can look very bulky. Can you create a DEW which is sort of mobile, which can be vehicle mounted, which can be probably hand carried? And then some HPM systems in LAD role, we have discussed a lot of them. And then we have discussed the detection, tracking, autonomous CUS platforms, detection and surveillance, and how, in spite of all these radars that we do in the country, and still we look at Indra and Leonardo and others, and I think somewhere, the gaps that we need to address in the K, Q, Ka bands and the S bands, I think those are the gaps that we need to fill, because at the end of the day, we do not know what is the threat that is going to manifest in front of us. And therefore, our counter-UAS systems and the counter systems that we develop should be probably dynamic enough to even pick up a new threat and take it forward. We have discussed a lot about kinetic interceptors, the counter-swarm UAS, missiles, and nets, guns, integrated approaches. Then we also talked about certain mitigation technologies like cyber takeaway protocols. Cyber takeover protocols are very important over here, and then high-energy lasers. We have already, DRDO has already done something like a 30 kilowatt, and they have demonstrated it in Kurnool. I think Chess, the laboratory, has done an extremely fine job, and I think they are now looking for industry partners to pick that up. And we discussed some global manufacturers. I don't want to name them, it's all there in the book, including the top guys from Leonardo to Helsing and Thales and others. And Helsing is another company which I really like to talk about here from Germany, only for the reason that, they may not do the CUAS, but then the AI that gets inbuilt into any existing CUA is something that is that makes it absolutely formidable. And today when we speak of AI, I think we have to go beyond Alexa and ChatGPT and go forward there. And so is Anduril. I was very happy to see a collaboration taking place with Mahindra's, and then appears Bharat Electronics by themselves are a force to reckon with in the subcontinent. Axis Catus has done some extremely good job in terms of CUAs and some missile systems. Adani's have done something, we mentioned them, Zen Technologies, Unistring. In fact, Zen Technologies did a fantastic thing by picking up Unistring, and Unistring is a company that is investing in the future technologies, as we say. And when we speak to them, it's so inspiring to see some of these small companies that are doing so much. Gurutva, Dronam, DevSys Systems, then Idea for New Space, Indrajal. Indrajal is something very interesting. I think Kiran is going to talk to you a little more about it in the next session, and I don't want to take away the thunder from him. And then we did a very detailed comparison of CUAS capabilities across various Indian firms, across certain parameters. We highlighted the role of DRDO. After all, DRDO has been in the forefront leading some of these technologies, and you'll be very happy to know from the time they stepped down onto the integrated electronic warfare program, Samyukta, to what they have reached today. I think it's a very great thing. Sahasra Shakti, Durga, Surya, and the IADWs that was deployed. There have been some gaps. We need to identify those gaps which are there in Ops Sindoor. We have identified some of them, and then we need to probably step the pedal over there. And the strategic DEW program, the HPM systems of DRDO, then the TDF supported CUS projects, and we did also a comparative matrix between the IDEX and the TDF in various CUS projects. And how, this whole integration, because from IDEX to TDF to industry, transfer of technology from DLRL, from Chess, from RCI, from, to TBRL. TBRL also does some FPV drones, although I was not too impressed with that. But the fact is that there is a technology that's available even for about 100 grams sort of payload FPV drones, and we can always build it up. Then we did a very detailed chapter on air defense, and we listed out all of them from the Akash to Prithvi and Agnis, and anti-drones and the CIWS D4 system, which was pretty effective, and I think there are countries lined up who want to take it up. DW projects, radars, integrated systems. We also talked about the counter-US significance in the Russia-Ukraine war, and I think I just want to mention one small thing here. Innovation, when you see Ukraine and the way they have innovated on the battlefield, is something that's amazing. It is not Europe, it is not US, but it is just Ukraine that is standing the heat of Russia. And that happens only when every citizen in the country picks up the innovation sleeve onto himself and says, this is what I want to do for my country. In fact, I'm impressed with the chief of Ukraine, Helix. He put up that drone wall. He started with a drone wall of 100 meters. He expanded it to 100 kilometers with a depth of about 50 kilometers. And that is something fantastic that they have done. We talked about the innovations in the Israeli defense ecosystem, the Highlanders, the Sentries, the Extend, and we talked about all of that. So I think I'm going to leave you with this thing, and we also gave a market outlook, something like 4,000 crores by 2028. And what is that portion of 4,000 crores that you want to take? But if you want to take the portion of that 2,000 crores, you should remember that you should study all those 20, 30 technologies that Headquarter Ideas has put up at the TPCR and pick it up from there, because that's what is going to save us. Then we talked about the emergent trends in terms of quantum computing and geospatial CUAS and counter-UAS in space. How does it affect, launch site security, ground station protection, aerospace manufacturing, R&D sites, satellite communications infrastructure, and the vulnerability mapping is another thing that we have done, and a comparative matrix of the DRDO's D4 with others, and some niche areas that we need to do. And then we also talked about who's been in the news. A Latvian startup, DIU, Defense Innovation Unit, launches the replicator program. I really like this replicator program, sir. I think, we need to have a very dedicated program for UAVs and counter-UAS systems and allocate a budget, 3,000, 4,000 crores, and say, okay, next 5 years, this is what we need to develop. I really like that program, the way they're going at with that. Then Epirus and, Skylark Labs and Indra and Textron, and so many of them are there. Kumi, Anduril, and Solar Group. Solar Group, in fact, it was very interesting to see the various Astras that they have done from Solar Group. And also, I must tell you, when I see some of the EOIR innovations that take place in MKU, because I visited their lab, and that particular lab is manned by some young people, and the type of innovations that they do and what we are going to see is going to be a revolution in EOIR systems. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very comprehensive report. I think you have covered everything what we can think of. Thank you so much, sir, for preparing the report. We will be releasing it shortly, and we have Colonel Manik Anand, welcome, sir, and he has been working very aggressively and promoting the counter UAVs and the UAVs industries. Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to invite Shri Neeraj Gupta ji, the Managing Director of MKU Limited and the veteran and also a patron for the Defense and HLS Committee of PHGCCI, to give in the Indian perspective with his industry address.
Our chief guest, Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit ji, AVSM, VM, VSM, Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, to the Chairman, Chiefs of Staff Committee, sir. Special guest, Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, AVSM, Deputy Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, sir. Brigadier Monish Datta, Colonel Kuber, Nasir ji. Good morning to all of you. It is a privilege to start before the guardians of our nation, men and women who ensure that Indian skies remain sovereign, and before the industry partners who stand shoulder to shoulder with them. For the soldier standing guard at the border outpost on the cold night, the threat is no longer just across the fence. It now hums in the sky above him, a small drone, invisible to the eye, carrying narcotics, arms, and explosives. When a 30,000, when a rupees 40,000 drone can threaten a 40 crore asset, who truly has the advantage, the attacker or the defender? Around the world, the numbers tell a stark story. In April 2024, Iran launched over 300 drones and missiles in one night at Israel, the largest coordinated UAV strike in history. In Ukraine, FPV drone production exceeded 1.5 million in 2024. Kyiv now targets 4.5 million drones in 2025, many costing less than $500 or $1,000. This is a new reality, cheap precision at scale, forcing defenders into a cost exchange dilemma, and India cannot allow this imbalance. India is no stranger to defending its skies. From the Bofors guns of 1965 to Pichora systems, and now to Akash to Akstir, we have continuously adapted our air defense. The difference today is speed. Earlier, threats evolved in decades. Today, they change in months. For India, the challenge is already here. In Punjab alone, BSF intercepted or recovered over 200 cross-border drones in 2024. 2025 has already seen dozens more. Punjab Police now fields a dedicated anti-drone unit across its 553 kilometers border. In Jammu sector, sightings continue almost weekly, forcing soldiers to treat every hum in the sky as a potential threat. Our critical infrastructure, airports, refineries, power grids, all are potential targets. Behind each static is a human cost, a Jawan on longer patrol, a commander making harder decisions, a family waiting for safe return. However, we should also recognize the progress. The Army's Akstir system, inducted in 2024, digitizes low-level air defense. QRSAM regiments are inducted inducted to strengthen the mobile layer. Bell and DRDO's integrated drone detection and interdiction systems are deployed at VVIP sites. Updated national counter-rogue drone guidelines were issued in this month itself. These steps prove India is moving with resolve, but the challenge is to scale faster, denser, and more integrated, because the threat does not wait. Israel defended against 300 drones in one night, but imagine India, a country with 15,000 kilometers of borders and hundreds of critical infrastructure hubs. Our challenge is not a single salvo in one theater. It is persistent saturation across multiple frontiers. That is why India needs scale, speed, and indigenous innovation unlike any other nation. From conversations with various Indian Air Force, Army Air Defense, BSF, and police forces, 3 urgent needs stand out. 1, early detection of small drones in cluttered environments. 2, affordable layered defeat options, both soft kill and hard kill. 3, interoperable C2 and trained doctrine of swarms and EW resistant drones. These are not just requirements. They are voice of the soldier in the field. For India's defense ecosystem, numbers highlight urgency. China produces tens of thousands of drones every month. Ukraine has demonstrated 400 drone strike in a single night. India still imports 70% of advanced radars and seekers. Do we want to remain buyers of security or builders of sovereignty? This is not the task of industry alone, nor of the armed forces alone. It is a national mission where doctrine, policy, technology, and training must advance together. Today, Indian industry had made important beginnings in the counter UAV and air defense space. DRDO and Bell systems are operational at various defense sites. Several MSMEs and private firms, including MKU, are developing electro-optical systems, RF sensors, and jammers. Indigenous missile programs, Akash, QRSAM, V-SHORAD, provide a layered foundation. But we are still in the early innings. Counter-US deployments across borders are limited. Indigenous directed energy systems are at pilot stage. AI-based sensor fusion and swarm countermeasures are still in labs. Therefore, the question arises, where we must be in 1-2 years. I'm having some thoughts for all of us to think about. 1, install 100 plus counter-US nodes across Punjab, Jammu, and sensitive areas. 2, 10 to 20 directed energy systems deployed for point defense. 3, proven AI models for cluttered terrain drone detection. 4, common C2 protocols across Army, Air Force, BSF, and civil agencies. 5, domestic production, scale up of radars, RF modules, and optics. What holds back Indian industry from scaling counter-US systems and air defense systems fast enough is not talent or ideas. It is 3 things. First, procurement cycles that take years when threats evolve in months. Second, lack of shared testing infrastructure that delays validation. And third, dependence on imported subsystems, sensors, optics, RF modules, which slows scaling and raises costs. Unless these barriers are removed, our industry will always be catching up instead of leading. And how to achieve scale? Public-private co-development of fast-track funding, spiral procurement, 100 today, 200 next year with upgrades, permanent counter-US system test corridors, plains plus hills for red teaming, export incentives to build scale and competitiveness. Government has already recognized the urgency. India will roll out a rupees 2,000 crore incentive program over 3 years for drone manufacturing, including counter-drone systems, aiming to localize 40% of key components by 2027-28. Under IDEX, 26 products developed by startups have already been procured for over 1,000 crores, and orders OANs worth 2,300. Thank you. $2,380 crores are in the pipeline for 37 items. Building on this momentum, I propose 2 additional steps. Establish a fast-track counter-US innovation and procurement window, a dedicated procurement stream for CUAS air defense systems with committed allocation, maybe roughly 500 to 1,000 crore. Pre-approved standards and fast turnaround so prototypes move to field deployment in 12 to 18 months. Secondly, component localization and supply chain incentives. Matching grants and procurement preferences for critical subsystems, optics, RF modules, high resolution EO/IR sensors, and jammers. Linked to positive indigenization list timelines so that by 2028, all counter-US detection components above a defined cost threshold are domestically sourced. With these steps, India will not just defend against the drone age, but will lead it. At MKU, we see every product as a promise to the soldier. Developing electro-optic payloads with AI auto-tracking of drones as small as 0.5 meter cross-section at 2-3 kilometers. Secondly, we are targeting at driving down cost per intercept by up to 70% compared to conventional systems. For us, it is not about selling a system. It is about ensuring that when a soldier looks up at the night sky, he knows India has given him the means to fight back. I would like to propose a national roadmap with targets. Within 90 days, operationalize rogue drone guidelines at 10 priority sites. Within 6 months, deploy 100 plus fusion nodes, train 500 personnel, and certify jamming ROE. Within 12 months, scale to 500 nodes nationwide, integrate with Akshti and QRSAM, and pilot 2-3 directed energy systems. This is not ambition, this is necessity. Every day we wait, the threat adapts. For India, the mission is clear. No soldier, no citizen, no inch of our soil should ever be left unprotected. Tomorrow's war will not wait for us to prepare. They are already here, buzzing over our borders, testing our defenses. The question is not if India will respond, but how boldly, how quickly, and how decisively. With our armed forces' courage, our scientists' ingenuity, and our industry's resolve, we will ensure India's skies remain free, sovereign, and secure. That is our mission. That is our promise. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neeraj. A wonderful speech, and you have covered a lot of things. You have given a national roadmap, and the people are here, and the authorities are here. The a 100-day roadmap, 100 nodes to 500 nodes in few months, 500 personals, and you are right, absolutely. I think we will take these points and submit to the relevant authorities in DDP and all the CDS and Defense Secretary's Office, HQIDS. We'll submit these points, sir, as a part of the recommendation, because what you have given is absolutely the need of the hour. Thank you so much, Neeraj, for the industry address. Now I would like to invite Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, AVSM Deputy Chief of Integrated Defence Staff Ops, HQIDS, for his special address. Welcome.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, at the very outset, let me thank PhD CCI for giving me this opportunity to speak to this august gathering. At a time when actually this domain of national security is undergoing profound transformation. We are noticing that landscape of warfare is noticing a seismic shift. Today it is driven by proliferation of drone technologies. These versatile machines, in fact, have become cornerstone for any military strategy today. They offer variety of missions, from gathering intelligence to precision strikes. While there are nations who are employing complex unmanned aerial systems, today actually the stage has been set for arms race in new field, that is the air defense systems. The evolution of drone warfare has actually catalyzed these countermeasures, pushing the boundaries to see how the air defense system should be conceptualized, developed, and deployed. In the last few years, the contemporary military conflicts have shown that how drones make an impact on the operational strategy and tactical outcomes. In the Russia-Ukraine war, what we notice is that about 60 to 70% of the battlefield losses can be accounted for to the unmanned aerial systems. And this shift is well beyond just reconnaissance. Today it involves precision strikes, electronic warfare, and also swarming attacks that can overwhelm any sophisticated air defense system. Today, actually, the military planners are facing unprecedented challenges because of democratization of this drone technology. Today, components are available commercially off the shelf. They are very easy to assemble, and you get systems that come at just a fraction of a cost as compared to any traditional military asset. And if it utilized diligently, like we saw by the Ukrainians, just $1,000 drone can probably damage or destroy an aircraft worth over $200 million. Thus, it creates asymmetric advantage and fundamentally challenge the fundamental military economics. It is their cost effectiveness actually which makes them available to both state actors as well as non-state actors. And for countries like Ukraine, like Neeraj just brought out, that they are developing today almost 4.5 million drones annually. Today, the drone warfare consists of multiple domains and operational concepts. We have the swarm technologies that offer coordinated attacks utilizing multiple units. On the other hand, the artificial intelligence integrated well provides for sophisticated autonomous operations. In the naval domain, the drones have emerged as a potent threat. The Ukrainian forces utilized the unmanned surface vessels that targeted the Russian ships in the Black Sea. And when AI is integrated well, it enhances the combat effectiveness and helps in real-time decision making. What we have seen in Operation Sindoor, that the way battle space or battlefield is evolving, it requires our urgent attention and decisive innovations to deal with this threat which is already looming at large. We have seen that drones are no more just supporting tools, but they are the central player in any major conflict. We saw firsthand how drones shape the operations. They help gather intelligence and conduct kinetic operations. It has also demonstrated that threat from enemy drones, how it can jeopardize force protection, mission success, and strategic objectives. And our Western adversary actually in this field has adapted quite well. They have utilized inexpensive commercial platforms to carry out reconnaissance, disruption, and even carry out direct attacks. So swarms, kamikaze drones, persistent ISR from the skies are no more just possibilities, but they are realities as we saw in Operation Sindoor. Therefore, today's discussion that you all are going to have is so very pertinent, operationally essential, where military leaders and defense technology partners must have their shared objectives absolutely clear. What we need in a counter-UAS system is first and foremost the ability to detect, that too accurately. We should be able to identify even in a complex electromagnetic environment. You should be able to engage so as to neutralize effectively, proportionally, and without any collateral damage. But the challenge is not just the technology, but how to integrate this into the existing layer defense system. How we can achieve sensor fusion, AI integration to classify the threats and employ rapid response effectors on battlefield in a manner that is scalable, interoperable, and field ready. Operation Sindoor per se has given us the warning as well as the opportunity to accelerate our counter-UAS systems so that we do not learn the lessons hard way when we are faced with the next engagement. Therefore, we must turn our lessons into actions through collaboration, innovation, and unwavered focus to enhance our operational effectiveness. Today, I'll touch upon some of the critical areas which are affecting this technological race in drone and counter-drone. First and foremost is the role of drones in contemporary warfare, which we are all very clear. Next is the air defense system. They need to adapt to the drone threats. Classically, any air defense system is designed for manned aircraft. And now when they deal with drones, they are faced with limitations. As these drones are smaller, they are more agile, and more often than not, they fly at lower altitudes. Therefore, it requires sophisticated technologies to deal with it. Today, air defense systems are being designed to detect, track, and engage through both kinetic as well as non-kinetic means. The traditional missile systems and guns against smaller drones are not very effective because they generally employ radars or optical tracking, which can be easily circumvented by stealth or electronic countermeasures. So what we need is multi-layered air defense system to integrate the sensors, command and control networks, and the various effectors, that is the defensive measures that we have to engage this drone threat. In future, rather the systems that are coming up, we are integrating artificial intelligence, directed energy weapons, electronic warfare, and other measures that are available. Talking about directed energy weapons, I think this is a revolutionary step in the domain of counter-UAS because they provide the engagement at a speed of light and also at just minimal operational cost. They utilize high-intensity laser beams, which normally aim to cause thermal damage to critical components of the drones, thereby destroy them, and also they can cause structural damage if they target the warheads. In future, these directed energy weapons will come with adaptive beam controls, which will help in dealing with swarm kind of attacks through rapid beam steering. Electronic warfare, on the other hand, I think it is the most important component of counter-UAS as it gives economical solution while dealing with large number of threats. More advanced electronic warfare systems basically begin by detecting the RF signals that are transmitted between drones and their operators, and thereafter they utilize techniques to do the signal jamming, GPS spoofing, or interfere with the control links. However, one must remember that today's drones are becoming smarter. They are utilizing frequency hopping, they are utilizing encrypted communication, autonomous navigation modes, thus relying less and less on the external inputs. In fact, there are drones which are utilizing fiber optic cables to maintain seamless connectivity. On the other hand, there are others which are utilizing adaptive algorithms to deal with any jamming attempts. So any counter-UAS system that we are building should cater for all this. Then only it will be effective in times to come. AI integrated well will help in maximizing the impact of all the defensive measures that we have by giving autonomous detection, tracking, and engagement. And machine learning will help analyze the historical engagement data and work out the multiple points of intercept while coordinating with variety of countermeasures to maximize the impact. So looking ahead, the future of warfare would be shaped by the ongoing duel between the drones and the defensive measures, the innovations that we are doing to enhance this counter-UAS part. In fact, the nations which invest in counter-UAS system and integrate various components will be able to have strategic edge over others. And today race is already on to develop the counter-UAS systems which does not deal just with the drones of today, but swarm technologies of tomorrow. So with that, I have finished, and just for your information, that as headquarter IDS, we are conducting an exercise Cold Start 1, which will happen in first week of October, where we are going to test some of our drones and counter-drone systems, just for your awareness. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for informing the industry about the forthcoming trial, sir. Thank you so much, and the industry is actually geared up, sir, for the technology, and technology change is the only constant which is there, and the Indian industry is geared up, and the players are there. There are many companies which are there for the technical session, sir. We'll come to know about what kind of solutions they are bringing in this area, sir. So to cover all these, we have prepared a report which Colonel Kuber had already deliberated upon. We would like to release this report, sir, under your in your presence. I would request, and I would also like to invite the team, also the Sugosha team, especially Ms. Richa Sharma. She is the defense correspondent of Sugosha, and also Colonel Nageshwar Rao, if he is there, to release. We'll just come forward and we'll release the report, sir. This report carries all the aspects. Can I? Richa, if you can come, please. Colonel Nageshwar Rao. Colonel Sahab, if you can please come. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be giving this report to the concerned officials, submitting a copy of this. That also covers a roadmap and a suggestive roadmap. Now I would like to invite our chief guest for the day, Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit, AVSM, VM, VSM, the Chief of Integrative Defense Staff, to kindly address the gathering, sir. Sir. Welcome, sir. Please.
All my fellow panelists sitting on the stage, all colleagues, press, people here available, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me. A very happy good morning to you. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank PhD CCI for inviting me and providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this very important subject for this topic of the day. So the topic says counter UAV and air defense systems. Now there is a whole lot of hidden layers in this. So when you say UAV is actually anything which is autonomously takes the medium of air and goes from place A to place B. So if you stretch this definition too far, then even SSMs can be unmanned aerial vehicles. So what we will go by is the way Government of India looks at it, and various bills are being introduced. So Government of India has introduced a drone bill. It came out in just around COVID it came out, and it revolutionized the drone industry at that point in time. Before that, I remember even to test a drone, to fly a drone, suppose some IIT person has made a drone and he has to test it. If he goes to a field and tests it, he will be actually caught by police. So this was a very important step taken in the drone industry. Okay. Then when we realized, actually we were party to making this rules. So at that point in time only we realized that now there is going to be large okay. So we realized that there will be large number of these kind of vehicles. These drones will come up, and we had started working and talking about counter drone systems. So currently it is defined, drone is defined as less than 500 kilometers, and above that, 500 kg, and above that we call it UAV. And air defense is a overarching term actually. So air defense has got various layers. I will talk about it maybe subsequently. Indian industry and the new age industry actually has got lot of impetus once this drone and counter drone things came, and I think Bollywood also has a role to play in this. Okay, there was one particular film, I don't know to name it, but a lot of interest people got after seeing that movie. Okay, because of that, a lot of IITs and a lot of engineering colleges started having a hobby club for this particular thing, and people left, right and center for buying kits which were readily available in robo kits or Amazon also, and started making their drone at home. Okay, so this is how this thing has evolved over a period of time. The culmination is like Dixit Sop said, it happened in Russia, Ukraine, in Op Sindhu also we saw, and continuously new kind of employment of drone, counter drone, UAVs we are seeing. Recently again Ukraine has gone and attacked a Russian naval vehicle, 500 kilometer FPV drone. Now how it is done, we still have to find out, because wire will not go 500 kilometers. Okay. So techno innovation is continuously liberalizing the this industry. Hybrid warfare. Now this is the offshoot of this. The hybrid warfare has come because we are using drones for purposes which we had never even thought that we will be using it. So this is enough about drones. This seminar is about counter drone. So most important thing in counter drone is it is very small and the material is completely different. It is not metal, hardly any metal. So radar doesn't see it. We are, for time immemorial, we are seeing aerial objects using radar. And we have radars which can detect birds also. But detecting drone is very, very difficult because they are smaller and they are not made of items which can reflect the radar waves. The second challenge is shooting it. So earlier we are shooting using kinetic means. Kinetic means are very costly compared to the cost of the drone itself. $100 versus say $1,000 cost. Cheapest missile will be $1,000 missile at least. So these are fundamental problem. Okay. So I cannot go bankrupt while winning a war. Okay. This is the issue which is at hand. So what I am trying to say, it is not technical in nature. There is commercial angle, there is economic angle involved, economic scale is involved, and innovation to the core means you have to start from drawing board itself. So when you put pen to paper, so we are generally making engineer drawing 3 views, plan view, top view, something like this we make. So I think you have to make economic view also along with it, and then only grow the system. This is added layer, added work, maybe different kind of discipline you will have to engage. Now wars in between which has happened, Kosovo and thereafter Azerbaijan thing, which actually helped the drone industry quite a lot. Then Ukraine and various other things. So they have created an innovation adaptation cycle which Dixit Sop stated in clear terms. So they are actually continuously teaching us which technology and how it is going to come up. Our job, industry's job and think tank's job and academia job is to think 2 steps ahead. It is like a game of chess. Okay. So what I say is, like you must have heard make in India, made in India like this. So you have to do that. You have to start think in India, ideate 2 steps ahead, but then realize. Okay, Steve Jobs said that ideation is hard, R&D is harder, and production is hardest. It is true. All of you must be aware about this. But please try to achieve correctly from ideation itself. Okay, if that we are able to get it right, I think other steps we will be able to do it. Counter drone, again, like told, multi-layered approach. So the technology to detect drone, currently radar, FMCW radars, some acoustic sensors are also coming up, and various type of sensors people are trying. Whichever is successful, half also, that also should be directed, because I want to see from all angles. Then implementation of AI, because that is what finally will be the differentiator between a fusing sensor. So I will get the image from 3-4 sensors, fuse it. I am 99% sure that I am looking at the drone. A third thing is that our regulations should support it. So today when I fly in an aircraft carries IFF, or cooperative target recognition carries. That is how you are able to see flight radar 24, you can see the aircraft moving. Same thing must be implemented for drone. We have some drone ID system which I think is likely to come up. It is already there but not implemented fully. But we have to fight for having a system where a drone which is flying is able to give me his position within a certain area. This is the most important thing, and industry has to standardize this. Whosoever is responsible, please standardize this, that there is a say applique device on the drone and is able to talk to all my counter drone systems and say this is a friendly drone and give it position. Because then any other drone I see, either police can shoot it or I can shoot it. Otherwise, what is the fun of having counter drone if we are not going to do any violence, isn't it? We are okay. So now the shooting down drone is by kinetic means, by say we have hunter killer drones, we are throwing nets on drones. Directed energy has been talked of, and high power microwave, this is also and maybe some more technology is on the anvil, I don't know, hard kill technology. So I think people will deliberate, but soft kill and hard kill combination is required. There is no means 2 ways about it without any doubt. Now in Sindoor, people have spoken about, and why? So you must have heard the news. 300 drones, 400 drones are coming, and they are trying to attack. So yes, there were large number of drones. So I'll tell you that certain drones which we caught were quite sophisticated. They had edge AI. They were navigating using visual means, and so when we jammed GPS, they were still able to reach somewhere close. So they are also working and becoming better like us. So we have to go one step ahead to them. It seems that our counter drone and our GPS jamming systems have worked sufficiently well so that the damage done by these drones have been almost nil. And you must have heard this from various sources. But this has been the success story in Op Sindoor in entry drone area. Now, unfortunately, the same thing cannot be repeated next time, because the system, it is like ECM, ECCM ladder. The other side system will grow, because they have also learned what are our capabilities. So next time our capabilities has to be ahead and much better. So that is why we say self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. We harp upon this is because it gives a surprise element to. But like all surprises, it can only be utilized once. So next time we have to again give a surprise element, and for this I exhort all of you. Integration, interoperability, we have already spoken of. Integration of all sensors and integrations of all weapon systems, be it soft kill, hard kill, etc. We are doing, and we are taking help of all three services and industry also. Now, cost effectiveness, I have already told you, it should be part of your blueprint from day one. And one more thing is, it should be operator friendly. So, there is a word called foolproof system. Means even if a fool operates it, he will be able to operate it correctly. That is the meaning of that. So something like that, because you see, we are, but this is possible because of the new generation which is coming. They are very smart and they are very good in operating a smartphone at least. So I think we should be able to do well. So this OODA cycle, which we think of, it is slowly becoming AI driven. The day it becomes full AI driven, O to A, the gap will be in milliseconds. So that is what we have to work on. Basically, the kind of component you choose, the kind of say harness you lay on the drone, each and everything matters in the end to get a winning edge. Okay, don't try to take shortcut in anything. That is my message. And now we talk of the complete air defense, and Prime Minister very nicely stated that on 15th August in the manner of Mission Sudarshan Chakra. So he also started from Krishna. So so he got inspired maybe. So Sudarshan Chakra is mother of all air defense system combined together, along with some weapon system. So we are still under ideation phase, but counter drone, counter UAV, aircraft, counter hypersonics, all those kind of things. And there are some things which cannot be spoken, those are also there. So all this combined together is Mission Sudarshan Chakra. And we are really actually working towards this, and counter drone is the lowest layer of that. Okay. Problem in drone is that it is state and non-state actors both are able to use it. This is the big problem. So that is why we have to be ready in peacetime also. So these systems will be usable in peacetime. A time is going to come where all systems, all our mobile things, everything will have a counter on it. Maybe within 3 to 4 years we will find, because once this reaches to anti-social elements, that is the time everybody will have to have a something like a counter drone system. Okay. So one more thing which I want to tell you, that Europe is rearming very strongly, and they are trying to. So and they also are looking for counter drone, and they are also looking for these technologies. So you should build bridges with them and be, let's say, first responder and try to get that. We are also trying to do payload standardization. The explosive payload, what we found is that it is very difficult for private industry to get explosive payload. So TBRL is trying to do standardized payload of 1 kg, 1.5 kg. There we have laid down some things, and shortly I think we will promulgate this, that anybody who wants to have a drone which is delivering something. So these are the specifications. If you are able to deliver this particular block of cement, you will be able to deliver a payload. So this is also we are trying to do mass production and scaling up in times of requirement. Like in Sindoor or something like this happens, and we suddenly say, can you give us say 200 drones in next 1 week? So this is also a challenge, and how to overcome that also we need to understand modular type of drone or something like this. Like if you remember, $5 drone, Australia produced cardboard drones just to create a psychological effect only. It did not do any damage, but psychologically created some effect. So these are kind of things which we have to think of. These are all innovative ideas. One person cannot think of all of them. So all of us have to put together our brain and think. And so many smart people are sitting here. Indian industry is here, think tanks are here, and I think we will be able to create world-class counter drone and counter UAV and air defense systems. I would conclude with this, and I would once again like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, and to all of you for your kind attention. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your thank you for the address, sir. And you have rightly said we need to be 2 steps ahead from with our adversaries, because the technology which we have used will be now known to them. So we have to be ahead of them in our soft kill, hard kill capabilities, and also in the counter UAV and air defense system, and also the standardization part we just spoke about, and ultimately the cost effectiveness which the industry is working upon. Thank you so much, sir, for the address. Before we conclude this session, sir, I would like to felicitate you with a memento. I would request Neeraj Gupta ji to kindly felicitate our chief guest for the day, Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit, the CISC, with the memento and plant. I would also request Brigadier Manish Datta to join him in felicitating the CISC. There's a plant also. Thank you, sir. Neeraj, I would request also to felicitate DSIDS, Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, DSIDS HQIDS. Memento. And a memento also, sir. Thank you so much. Now I would request Brigadier Manish Datta ji to kindly felicitate Neeraj Gupta ji with a memento. And also to Colonel K.V. Kuber, the veteran, and the... Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. I would now request Colonel Brigadier Manish Datta to kindly give the vote of thanks and conclude the proceedings.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a very engaging and a very good first inaugural session. As we draw close to the important conference on first session on the counter drones and AD systems and future of modern warfare, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At the outset, I would extend my heartfelt gratitude to Chief Guest Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit, AVSM, VM, VSM and BAR, Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, to the Chairman, Chief of Staff Committee, for sparing his valuable time and sharing his visionary thoughts on the strategic importance of counter UAV technologies in future warfare. Sir, your point regarding the friend and foe is very well valid and very well taken by the industry. The commercial aspects is very important, especially the numbers that we are considering in the present day scenario. Our sincere thanks to Air Marshal Rakesh Sinha, AVSM and BAR, Deputy Chief of Integrated Defense Staff Operations, for his special address underlying the operational imperatives in the fast evolving domain and the counter drone systems and the possible and practical solutions. We will surely be taking a note of the points shared by you, sir. I also thank Shri Neeraj Gupta ji, Managing Director, MKU, for covering the global situation and aligning the present systems with it. Sir, the advice and recommendations are very well received by all of us and would be part of the report that PhD chamber would be giving. We are also grateful to Colonel Kuber and his team for preparing the knowledge report, his excellent address, which will serve as a valuable resource for policymakers, industry leaders and researchers. A special word of appreciation for our distinguished participants from the armed forces, industry and academia whose presence here reflects our shared commitment to India's defense preparedness. Lastly, I wish to acknowledge the efforts of PhD Chamber, Defense and Homeland Committee team, partners and colleagues who have worked tirelessly to make this conference possible. With these words, I once again thank you all and look forward to a rich session and deliberations ahead. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We now break for the session. We have a very small tea break, but I would like to apprise you that we have two technical sessions. One on the counter UAVs, which talks about the military applications and tactical responses, where we would be covering about the battleship counter drone operations, the swarm attack, and the detection and identification technologies, sir, which will be chaired by our DGCD, Lieutenant General Vineet Gaurji. Sir, he is already here. Welcome, sir. And he'll be chairing the session. Will be moderated by Colonel K.V. Kuber, and we'll have very distinguished panelists also for that session. And the another session would be on the emerging technologies in the air defense system, which talks about the types of counter UAVs, the RF jamming, laser kinetic options, AI-based tracking, which you talked about, integration of AI and machine learning, and the case studies from the military exercise and the operations like Sindoor. So we have two technical sessions just after a small tea break, sir. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Thank you once again, sir. It's only a 10 minutes break. Military applications and tactical responses. I would request everyone to kindly be seated. Please settle down. Applications and tactical responses, where we are covering the battlefield counter drone operations, the swarm attack mitigation system, and the detection and identification technologies aspect. I would like to invite the chair of the session, Lieutenant General Vineet Gaur, PVSM, AVSM, Director General Capability Development, DGCD, DTE, IHQ, MOD. I would like to invite DGCD on the stage, please. Sir? Yeah, DGCD on the stage. I would also like to invite Colonel K.V. Kuber, the Indian Army veteran and Director Aerospace and Defense, EY LLP, as a moderator to kindly come on the stage, please, the dais. I would like to invite Ms. Dharani B., the CTO, Radar and Weapon System, Bharat Electronics Limited. Dhananji ji, please come on the dais. She is the Chief Technology Officer in the Radar and Weapon Systems, Bharat Electronics. I would also like to invite Shri Vrajesh Shalat, the President, Optimus Unmanned Solutions Systems, to kindly come on the stage. Mr. Kiran Raju, the Founder and CEO, Indrajal. Mr. Kiran Raju, thank you so much for being a part. Mr. Amardeep Singh, the Founder, Armory. Mr. Sunny Sharma, the Founder and CEO, IIO Technologies. And also Group Captain Srinivas, the Directorate Ops, Indian Air Force, Air Headquarter. Group Captain Srinivas, kindly. So I would hand over the session to our moderator, Colonel K.V. Kuber. Thank you so much, sir.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are just about picking up on the first technical session. And it's a great pleasure for me to introduce the Director General Capability Development and General Gaur, General Vineet Gaur. You see, capability development is an overarching term for the individual contracts that are being placed on companies. Capability development is an overarching term for the various AONs that are being taken by the services with the MOD. We are also very fortunate to have very senior people in the audience. Former CISC is here. And when as a CISC you sit as the chairman of the higher committee, and you give AONs to various programs or projects, I always wonder, does the MOD have a larger picture at all? I wonder that. I've been seeing this. I'm not sure if we are picking up systems in bits and pieces and development taking place in silos. Bharat Electronics is here, the private industry is here. Somebody is developing something, private industry is developing something, some startup is doing something else, and there is an IIT which is investing in some technology. There is a DRDO which is doing some DCPP. There is a TDF which is giving some projects. There is an IDEX which is giving some grants to people. So I will request General Gaur to solve this problem for me as the Director General of Capability Development and tell us, is there a method in this madness, or is it possible that in the next operation, the next war, our systems will be non-workable, non-interworkable, and therefore are we going to create some confusion in the battlefield? Ladies and gentlemen, over to the Director General Capability Development, Lieutenant General Vineet Gaur.
Thank you. First of all, my deep appreciation and gratitude for PhD-CCI to organize this very important seminar and very important topic which we are discussing today. And mind you, as DG Capability Development, if I wake up somewhere in the middle of the night, the only thing that sometimes crosses to my mind is drones and counter drones. And I'm not joking, and I'm very, very candid and true about it. And the reason is that this is going to change the way the warfare is changing. And so when we start talking about a big picture, and we start talking about, do you have a strategy for 6 years or 8 years? So my question immediately goes back, what were we thinking about drones and counter drones 6 years back or 5 years back? And I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about the world. And the answer lies there. And the answer is, when the technology changes and the technology cycle is 3 times, 4 times faster than the acquisition cycles, which is 3 times, 4 times faster than you can decide what you want to buy and how you want to buy. This problem of a bigger picture will certainly take a back seat. And that's the reason when you go to a certain Ukraine where on the battlefield, the innovations are being created, on the battlefield, solutions are being created, and people are there, right there, the forward edge, because the time is only that much for you to develop and come up with solutions. So as far as this particular domain is concerned, I certainly would say with confidence that in confusion, in chaos, is where the innovation is happening. And this confusion and chaos has gone to an extent that this famous term of the edge of chaos is something which you suddenly find the brighter light. And I can say today that the nature of warfare in the foreseeable future in 2 years to 3 years' time is greatly going to be affected by how drones and counter-drone solutions are developed in the country. So that's so much so about the bigger picture. I'll take, if you allow me, 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes to just say as to what is happening right now and what are we looking at as Indian Army when we look at drones and counter drones. So initially the drones started with the ISM band frequency, and everybody and anybody can have it, everybody can jam it, and suddenly we found it is not working. So we said no, we have to look at those frequencies which possibly not there. So we started now saying that we will look at non-ISM bands. So since non-ISM bands are there, you are possibly looking at a different set of frequencies to look at. Then as the drone started developing, we started finding that newer and newer technologies, came up with drones. So the CISC was talking about GPS denied environment and EW contested environment drones. So today you are looking at how do you operate a drone when there is no GPS? Because all GPS, whether you're talking about GLONASS or Baidu, or QZSS or Navic or anything that you can think of, all will finally find themselves into a hugely difficult space where the GPS will be denied. And same goes with the EW part, that you will be in an environment where there will be jammers all over, and how do you operate when there is a hugely EW contested environment? So this game of cat and mouse will start with which technology tries to outsmart the other. And I'll give you a simple example. When this jamming and things became too pervasive, we came up with this idea of a fiber optic drone, where he said that everything will be going through the fiber optic cable, whether it is the control signals or it is the video or it is anything is going through that cable. So how did that innovation came up in the battlefield? Is because the EW environment became too difficult to handle. So when we look at today the counter drone system, let's look at the very important thing which has happened is that the counter drone and the EW have got intertwined. And counter drone and AD has got intertwined. So suddenly we find three animals together. There is an air defense, there is an EW, and there is a counter US. And now there is no way that these three silos can work differently. And I think that's what CISC was also saying, that this idea of hard kill, soft kill, the idea of which weapon system or which shooter to take, which sensor will see, how the sensor will give you a picture is all which is going to happen. So when you look at a counter drone system, you will possibly be looking at a scanning from 30 megahertz starting from HF, VHF, UHF, L, SC, KU, Ka bands. That means your ability to sweep this band with a 2.4 terahertz per second, with an ability to pick up a signal even if it appears for 75 to 50 nanoseconds on this entire band, is the capability that you will require when you are looking at this EW and counter drone systems intertwined. And I think today I can say there is no receiver other than Rode and Shorts which can do this. And that's the reason even when we have a certain Indian system called Him Shakti, or we have a certain system called Shatrughat or Samaghat, we are still looking at Rode and Shorts to give us this capability. So this ability to sweep this entire band is one capability which we are missing right now. The ability to have a fast tracking system which can sweep this entire band. So the first thing is, because the drones are going to be frequency hopping, because the drones are going to be giving you not only frequency hopping but direct sequence spectrum, where you will not be able to see the signal itself of the drone, it will be hugely difficult for the counter drone systems to find that yes, there is a drone. The ability to find the system will be the biggest challenge right now because of the speed and because of the frequency or the EM spectrum or the EW spectrum that we are talking about. So for the counter drone system, this is the topic of the day, the first challenge is to detect. And I think that detection technology will have to possibly work at. Once you have detected, the ability to classify, to say that this is there, you will have to possibly go to AI. There is no other way. The amount of data that will be going through in this entire spectrum, and after that making sense as to which is where is the emitter and what is its geolocation. You will have to depend on radar, you will have to depend on RF, you will have to depend on IR, and you will have to depend on acoustic, and you will have to fuse that picture, and you will have to get this picture not only from the drone, you will have to get it from a satellite, you will have to get it from a ground-based station and from a UAV, and all that has to be fused. So multi-platform, multi-sensor, and fusion of all this to give you a clearer picture is again going to be a challenge for all these counter drone manufacturers. First, detection, classification, and then looking at jamming. Look at the jamming pattern today with the SDRs coming in. On the fly, you will have have to develop this ability of adaptive jamming, where your drone will be actually changing the frequencies and its waveform on the fly. You cannot use the jamming sequences which you have in your library already pre-fed. So pre-fed jamming sequences and pre-fed jamming libraries will stop functioning. You will have to create on-the-fly jamming waveforms and jamming sequences to be able to take. So this adaptive jamming is something which will have to be an absolute necessity if you are looking to build any sort of counter-drone system. So I would stop here. There's a lot of people to talk, but I can only say that any one of you who wants to interact with us as to what kind of systems we are looking at to beat this differential between the technology cycle and the acquisition cycle, the approach is very simple. What is the best in the world is at least going to be the start point. So we will not start from what you can make, I'm sorry. We will start from what is the best in the world today. So we will buy Eclipse, we will buy Viper, we will buy Scorpius G, we will buy Repellent, because these are the best systems today. And you will have to match up, and you will have to go beyond. And if you want, what is that we are looking at? We can tell you this is what we're looking at, so that in 1 year time and 2 year time, the agility of frequency and the agility of development go hand in hand, and we are able to give you some orders. Thank you.
Oh my God, I wish you just continued. It was just too good. And did you just get up in the middle of the night and this thing? I do. Okay. So that was so nice. I mean, I thought he would not stop, because it was heartening to hear something that, he talked about adaptive jamming. And one thing that really sort of inspired me in his whole talk was, start point is what is best in the world. I mean, that is just too good. That's just too good. So you say, see, today we moved away from the ISM band. We went into, we said, we want to do from 30 kilohertz or 30 megahertz and go to ka, ku, ke, kau, kam, kaha. Whatever is the complete this thing. Supposing we want to do all that, I just want to ask Dharani madam. You see, you're the CTO of Bharat Electronics, the largest electronics company probably in South Asia. And if I were to just think about Bharat Electronics, I can only think about the beautiful complex that you have, the number of radars that you have made, the number of systems that you have done. Tell me, this ability to put all the bands in one, sweep it, detect it, track it, is that something that you're thinking about? And can you just give the audience a little bit of what Bharat Electronics is doing in this discipline, number one. Second is, I want to believe that Bharat Electronics is not doing everything on their own. This is another thing. How much are you outsourcing to the industry? What type of a hand-holding have you done to the industry? How many have you actually, you see, if I were to look Bangalore as Bangalore, if I had seen Bangalore 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, when my aunt was also working in BL, we used to stay, that NA quarters and all that. Today, Bangalore has developed also because of companies like BEL, HAL and all that. But I think that's just not good enough. Okay? So, with this little bit of a handicap that I've given you, would you like to improve your golf handicap and say what you have done? Mike is there with you.
Very good morning to the chair and all my colleagues on the dais and all the people who have attended, who are representing here. Yes, yeah. It's a nice question posed by Colonel K.V. Kubai. So basically, as far as Bell is concerned, we started this program of D4 system along with DRDO. Basically, the development of radar and the UO system and the jammer and the DU. Basically, the RF jammer has been, it's an outsourced item, whereas the other three have been developed in-house along with DRDO. The technology with which basically the system was developed sometime in 2019 or so, 1920, where COVID was very prominent, and we had to put together a system that was available based on the requirement from the government. We just picked up multiple electronics together and then made the system. But then, of course, the system has performed well during the Operation Sindhu. But notwithstanding that, there is a lot more to be done, is what we are finding now, because the drones which were expected to fly up to 1 kilometers, 500 meters to 1 kilometer, and that was the design. And we found that all were flying above, 1 kilometer, 3 kilometers to 6 kilometers. The similar way we have, other parts like, the laser or the EMP. These are all can cause collateral damages. And if you would see the RF cyber, takeovers, these things have not matured to a greater extent. And radar per se, as sir was asking whether we are planning anything about it. In fact, we thought that we must be able to bring about a dual band system, wherein, because basically the radar what has been developed by DRDO and us is a rotating system, and hence it's not continuously staring at the formations, whether it is a swarm or any targets, that is, any of the drones which is moving, and hence it is essential to stare as well as to track. It's something like what we brought about in the kind of flycatcher systems for Indian Army. So where we must be looking at it as well as tracking at it, and both are equally important. And as I find now in 2025, we're finding that the drone technology has moved far ahead of what we have developed in 2019-20. And one thing is that there is to be a movement in tandem with the, as the drone technology is advancing, we should also be improving upon the counter drone systems. So it would be very appropriate to see that how we can take them together to ensure that a fail-safe protection is done, as well as we will be able to build drones which can do the attack to the enemies.
Right. So, madam, can I take a guess?
Yes, sir.
What is your birth star? Is it Bharani?
No, sir.
No, okay. Because they say normally Bharani Nakshatram will Dharani Alvar, so that's why I thought I'll ask you that. But then you see, two things, I want to continue with you for one more minute.
Sir.
Two things that you said is sort of making me uncomfortable. One is, you said based on the requirements of the armed forces, I'm doing something. That is one statement that you made. The second thing you said, DRDO and us are developing. Is it an excess?
No, sir, it's not so.
Okay. Then?
We are developing a lot of systems on our own too. Of course, they are our big brothers, and we have learnt a lot from them. And we have learnt a lot from the TOT projects which has been done from other countries also. So, and we are also handling a lot of projects on our own too.
So one more question based on what the DGCD just said.
Sir.
Whom do you compare with in the world?
Whom do you?
Whom do you compare with in the world? Whom do you take it as, he said I want the best should be the starting point. So what is your starting point?
Sir, whenever we commence a project, we always do a proper benchmarking with the products that is available across the world. And after doing the benchmarking only, we commence any project.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Dharani, and it was fantastic to hear from Bharat Electronics on because you see, most of the electronic companies in India look up to Bharat Electronics. Bharat Electronics looks up to DRDO. I have to find out from DRDO whom are they looking up to. So if this looking up to is going on and on and on, then what is happening inside, on one side we say Atmanirbhar, we should do everything. The DGCD says, the best is the starting point. I don't know. Is there a dichotomy in what we are talking, or I do not know where exactly we are reaching at. But let us shift a little bit from the counter UAS system towards air defense, and we have Group Captain Srinivas Prasad from us, from the services, from the Air Force, who's going to give us a little bit of an idea as to, we are really wanting to hear from you more on the low level air defense. And what do you think has been, if the starting point was Op Sindoor, let's forget about anything that happened before that. If Op Sindoor is the starting point, and if there has been a particular action between Israel picking up somebody in Qatar, very daring act. You can do that only if your AI integration, your pinpointing, your tracking, your sensing. You can't just go and bombard a small little 2-bedroom house in Qatar, which is in a multi-story building, and take the wrath of the world, in spite, even if you have been so precise. So, can you just throw some light on the low-level air defense, and what is our efficacy? Where are we? What are the gaps? What should the industry really do?
Very good morning to everyone. I've already been introduced. Thanks for the introduction. Okay, as a defense man, the moment I look at it, present threat from the manned aircraft to the unmanned aircraft, the one thing which comes to my mind is the requirement of a composite system. Now, composite system, now I will just explain what is composite system as per me. With a blurring of difference between the unmanned aircrafts that starts from the RPAs, which are in the conventional parlance are equivalent to the conventional aircrafts, to the smallest drones, which has become a great threat. So this is we need to understand that there's a big gap between the detection of the smallest drone to the conventional, or you may say RPAs, which are the largest drones in the civilian parlance. So, if you think of maybe 4 or 5, 10 years before, all the detection systems, radars, everything has been manufactured for the detection of a large aircrafts, and our counter systems, that is air defense systems to counter that, are also manufactured to take on this type of manned aircrafts in a large conventional warfare. With the drones getting introduced, various type of drones, we can say the weaponized drones, or you may say kamikaze drones, which are loitering munitions, everything which falls in between these two categories is of a great threat now, and everybody will be looking forward for. And as an air defense man, I have said that this is the one which I am looking forward for. So now, composite system. So now air defense system is available where the conventional threat will be detected and it will be countered, and now we are looking at the CUAS where it has a limited ranges and the limited ranges of the countering capabilities. Now we need to build this gap. There are systems which are operating in between with the capabilities of the large conventional aircrafts as well as the small counter drones which cannot be detected. So we need to look at the composite systems which will be able to detect at this range and should be able to counter this type of threats.
When you say this range, you see, two statements, if you don't mind my asking you, because I'm very intrigued, and I feel diffident asking a question to a serving officer. So, with your permission. So, two things you said. One is at these ranges, and second thing you said a little earlier was 10 years before we didn't imagine. I want to combine these two statements. What will happen 10 years from now? We are still looking at 5 kilometers detection, 2 kilometers jamming, 1.5 kilometers something. Deep force system has done very good. Is that good enough? 2 years hence, will the whole damn thing change? And we are going to be presented with something your D4 is ineffective? D4 is excellent, I'm not saying. Will it happen? Because now we just said, Madam herself said, Few years before we didn't imagine. So what are we going to imagine, and why are we not saying that I want a detection at 25 kilometers or 100 kilometers or 500 kilometers?
I'll clarify again, sir. My point was very clear. I said our detection ranges was 400 plus kilometers, you may say whatever kilometers, we had the conventional aircrafts. Now we are looking at a small ranges. I'm telling that these ranges, the small ranges as well as the big ranges, everything should be combined and we should be able to detect whatever smallest aircraft at the largest ranges. When I saying that the gap has to be built, the present ranges of 1 kilometer or 500 meters to be taken up to that level of 100 plus or hundreds of kilometers, where all the various RCS aircraft, various RCS platforms are detected in at the various ranges and should be able to counter it in a cost-effective manner.
Right. So the idea is that we should detect at the longest range. You see, I want to shift a little bit from the, from the sequence and go to my friend Kiran. Kiran, are you there? Yeah. So you see, Indrajal, you've been talking about a 360 degree, and you've been talking about, an integrated application, you've been talking about, so what do you think the technology, where should it reach, and what are you doing at Indrajal?
Sir, thank you for the question. So I'd like to, I think, fundamentally define the problem first, right? I think the fundamental problem is that drone is a single word, but like everyone here is saying, there's a vast segregation of it, from tactical to operational, strategic, local. So first of all, when anybody comes to us and say that we want an anti-drone system, I'm like, wait, there is no such thing as a system, right? There is no system which I can give you, and here's an anti-drone system, please use it. We have to start with a simple principle of saying that for your location, what is the threat identification? So fundamentally, if you are going to a nuclear power plant, the threat for a nuclear power plant which is the center of the country versus a threat for a nuclear power plant which is the edge of the country are two different things, right? So we need to identify the threat profile for this location. So it is very land driven. So any system that we develop today, saying that, oh, I will detect 5 kilometers and I will mitigate 5 kilometers and I'll do this, and I start manufacturing that, immediately means that I'm stuck to one level of a system, right? And the reality is that you need platforms to achieve multi-layer systems which can answer a bigger range of threat problems. So first dimension is the threat. Second dimension is saying that I need to do detection, identification, tracking, and mitigation. So that in itself is a massive problem, right? Third dimension to it, okay, is not that two dimensions are enough. The third dimension is that, is this in an urban area? Is it in a forest? Is it in the mountains? Is it in the, so the entire fundamental sensors change when I go to Leh Ladakh and when I come to a Gujarat border, right? So fundamental sensors change. You cannot use a sensor that is in Gujarat and apply it to Leh Ladakh, right? So when we do these three dimensions, the fourth dimension is that, okay, what about friendlies? The reality is that the future is going to be, there will be 100 friendly drones for every 5 threats. So how are you going to do wartime, peacetime switching, right? So wartime is one angle, but if we don't understand the peacetime scenario, we are not going to be able to enable the drone industry. Fundamentally, if you are not, that's like today, we have disparate systems. The army systems will shoot down the navy surveillance drones, and navy ones will shoot down the air force drones, and that is going to happen, right? So that is the fourth dimension. So you have a 4-dimensional challenge, and we are expecting one system to solve this. It's impossible. And so the reality is that we can't think of zeros and ones. We have to think of it as percentages. So war-laden countries, like conflict countries like Ukraine and Russia, we see some attacks online. Okay, really in Israel, the things that are coming in is only 5 to 8%. They are actually stopping 92%, right? Or 90%. So the ones we see hitting are the ones that escaped, or the air defense systems, and systems were not able to stop because they were overwhelmed. But reality is that they are stopping 90%. So today, the reality is that we need to ask, sir, to answer the question, we ask ourselves saying that, so defining the problem is crucially important. So when we do this, what we do is that we actually have the entire categories of drones, and then we map each technology across those categories. That way, there is a percentage associated with it. So for example, for me, ISM band is about a 35% hit rate. If you take wideband jamming, wideband, it's close to 45-50%. If you take GNSS and navigational spoofing, aggressive soft kills, they might reach a 60-70%. Then come radars and interceptors and HPM weapons, which have much higher range of potential hit rate, and the cost varies substantially. The fundamental, so hence Indrajal is focused on building the platforms that enable the three things which are fundamentally important, which is unification of these systems. Second, bringing in autonomy at scale, so that I truly believe there is no way it's humanly possible to stop a drone. It's not possible. Like I'd like to see the first operator, I'd like to give him a prize saying that you are the first operator who's able to stop it, because your response rates are less than 10 seconds, 15 seconds. How is it humanly possible to stop it, right? And the third thing is, I would say, first solve these fundamental problems, because as a country we cannot, okay, if I really want to beat China, manufacturing, if China is the real enemy, right? We will not be able to beat them in manufacturing, but we will be able to beat them in asymmetric warfare, right? Jugaad was always ours, and it will always remain ours, right? So we should be able to develop systems that are cheaper, faster, and have this level of unification and advancedness that will be able to be asymmetric enough to kill their expensive drones faster. I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, Kiran, that's good for Indrajal, and it's good that you talked about asymmetric warfare. But I think let us concentrate on what industry should do. You see, this is another problem I have. Industry speaks about warfare, warfighters speak about industry, somebody speaks about technologies. Everybody gives advice to everybody else. And here again, I want to invoke Lord Krishna. I'm sorry I have to do it. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Sreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmatu anushtitat swadharmam nidanam sreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. He says, apna dharm karo yaar, do your job properly. As an industry, industry should focus on what technologies I can bring, what I should do. Let the warfighter focus on how he should fight. Let the technology guys focus on how they should develop technology. Let the IIT professors, but there should be somebody overarching who should do this. Paradharma anustitat. Others, if you do others' job, even if it is well performed, even if I go and tell, the Chief of Defense Staff tomorrow, this is how you need to fight the Chinese. Even if I tell him a very great idea, it's not good enough, because that is not my dharma. My dharma is to find out as to what analysis, this is what I am supposed to do. So therefore, Swadharma Nignam Sreya, Swadharma is very important, so let us do our job well in this. Since, you talked about that Indrajal and how you have actually analyzed the whole problem and put the systems together, the basic problem is, there are some critical systems, components and others which are still, we are semiconductors, high-end processors, infrared detectors, EOIR sensors, optics, high power. You see, I want to get back to Vrijesh and ask, you're a guy who's, I met this company called Motherson Sumi some time back, so 2016 or 17, when we wrote that strategic partnership. I said, you're such a big company, why don't you come and do? He said, no, sir, I want to be in tier 1 because I am good at what I am doing. I don't want to be a platform maker. So like that, I think you are a person who's invested in subsystems. And what do you think should be your niche capability to make sure that whatever Kiran said or whatever the DGCD said or whatever Madam Dharani said should happen?
Thank you for the question. So, at Optimus, we don't only, not only design drones, but we are also going back into the subsystems that make a drone. And the objective is, first of all, to bring down, bring better technology, because we are not depending on somebody to give us the technology, we are developing that technology.
I hear you well, sir.
Is it okay now? Yeah, okay. So we are depending on ourselves to develop the technology. The question on semiconductor, we still depend on European and American companies for the semiconductor solution, to some extent Taiwanese companies. But using those to develop our own subsystems, whether it is the flight controller, whether it is the ESC, whether it is the GNS solution, the power distribution boards, and all of these are critical parts. And when we compare the cost, when we compare the performance, we find that we are able to deliver better, if not equal, to the competing platforms outside. They have an advantage. They have an advantage of knowing a lot of customer feedback. So they are able to design their software around this. And when we talk about AI and integration into edge computing starts with a Raspberry board. You can get to a NVIDIA Jetson. I mean, and that is the long and short of it, because eventually you're putting it on a drone, and there is a footprint and there is a power consumption, right? But now I will design based on what my limited understanding of the warfare requirements are. Somebody who's doing it in Taiwan or possibly even in China now has got a lot of input of what is happening in the warfare in Ukraine and Russia, and is adding those capabilities further there. So there is that knowledge gap that is coming, and I just wanted to present that to sir over here, that somewhere that, because I think software development is one thing we do well in the country, and using a ready-made Raspberry, whatever these types of boards, they can be integrated. But I will just use my limited domain understanding, web research, to be able to do that. The real world scenarios, and those are things which kind of possibly need to be further supported. We participate in some of the platforms. And sir, you mentioned the best in class systems in the world. The Indian battlefields are such that they require nothing less than the best in class. Our drones have to fly at 5,500 meters. Go above 1 kilometer over there and then fly another 25 kilometers. In those altitudes and in those winds, nothing but the best in class will work. And I think a lot of credit to the Make in India initiatives and all of that. A lot of those capabilities are being developed in India. There are some things that need further developed. We are working on cameras. We are working on motors and the RF. And these are the three other critical aspects where work has to be done. But that's how we believe things can go forward.
Thank you. That's a very nice thing. But one important point you brought out on knowledge gap. Here is where DGCD sir, I want to, with your permission, I want to say something. You see, when he says in other countries they have the knowledge, the services are giving them the knowledge, the armed forces are giving them the knowledge, then I found something very interesting happening. So for example, Israel has a system in the industry where they classify the industry. This is restricted, this is confidential, this is strictly confidential. So industry classification, like for example, Bharat Electronics, they are signatories to the, what is it called, that Secrets Act, that Non-Disclosure and Official Secrets Act. Like that, why don't we have a system for the private industry also, where we say, okay, this industry, these are the 200 guys who are in the confidential category, and therefore I can share all the information with them, or confidential information with them. These are the 20 guys in the secret category, and I can share them some national secrets. Yeah. Why don't we do this?
First very important thing we have to understand today, let's look at the ecosystem. We talked about Bharat, electronics depending on DRDO, and DRDO depending on whom. So first question is, let's look at this ecosystem. When did the private industry really started having a look at orders? Anyone? Just about 10 years, 8 years. When did they start this thing? And look at the countries that you are trying to compete with have 25, 30, 35 years with the private industry contributing to defense production and defense R&D. So I think it's just time that the Indian industry is a very, very nascent stage. And in the nascent stage, there will be problems, there will be difficulties, there will be chaos, there will be this problem of step brotherly treatment, feeling like nobody is telling us anything, but it's not true. Look at the programs that the Government of India, Ministry of Defense starting from IDEX, Aditi, all these. How did they come up and why did they come up? And good or bad, what are they doing right now? Is doing hand-holding of someone who's promising. And I remember last time somebody came here from JUICE Numerics and said, you can get funding, but where will you get the physics, chemistry and mathematics right? That you have to do yourself. So this ability to develop skill and the ability thereafter the government or the agencies to support that skill, I think this can easily happen if there is sincerity on both sides, and I can assure you that there is sincerity from our side. We are saying yes to anybody and everybody, right from 10 days old company to a very established company, to come and talk to us as to what we want. We have TPCR also now there, but we are ready to talk to anybody and everybody if he finds that there is a gap in terms of what we want. So you talked about edge computing, whether you talked about GNS denied operations, you talked about electronic speed controllers, or you talked about your flight controllers, and in terms of having IPs on all of them. That you may have a microcontroller, a dumb microcontroller which could have come from A country or B country, but your ability to program it and to have your own IPR is what we are encouraging. So we want an indigenous electronic speed controller. We want an indigenous a flight controller. We want an indigenous autopilot. But it may not be possible for each and every component of that to be right now, but at least the active components are within your control. And I think all those things we are now we have a mission-oriented procurement team, and my general is sitting here who's heading that team. He's my general there. And this mission-oriented procurement team is doing exactly the same. That you come, we will tell you what is the mission that we are looking at. And to answer what Indrijal was saying, that you want, what kind of system we require in deserts? Yes, Shatrughat Samaghat, this is what they have done. What do we require in mountains? Him Shakti, they have done. We will tell you what we want in each of the areas and also each threat profile. And look at today the counter drones. The threat is going deep inside. The threat is coming to us. The threat is coming to Delhi. Threat is coming to Batenda. Threat is coming to Chandigarh. Threat is coming to Udhampur. Threat is coming to everywhere. So this problem is not at the borders. This problem is in the hinterland and at the border. And that's the reason the solutions, if they are scalable, if they are indigenous, if they are within your control, if the technology is under your control, it will be better. But I am fully in agreement that there will be certain time delays, there will be certain problems because you are nascent. And we give it to you. But we don't want to give you a problem that because you are nascent, you will be given a smaller problem. No. You are nascent, all right, you will be given the toughest problem. You will have to think innovative. Somebody talked about a drone sitting on a power cable in Israel, because 5.66% of the GDP goes into the R&D in a country called Israel, not everywhere else. So they designed something that, on a power cable, you can make the drone sit and it will start at certain point in time, always powered. Somebody designed this tethered thing which I talked about. Is again somebody's, so the innovation is coming by whom? The innovation is coming by companies like the one sitting over here. And I am urging you to look beyond. So either there is you behind the technology curve always trying to catch up, or take a quantum leap and think something innovative, think something new, think something which has not happened right now, and give us those solutions. I have thought about it, and the IDEX programs or other programs will give you what we want. You can tell us that maybe this you can do, and we are ready for that as well.
The threat has come to our door, and the DGCD wants something new. And there is the principle of counter. The counter principle is how to build sensor diversity. And it is, how many different types. Sensor diversity by itself is a science, and therefore I want to talk about radar microdoppler, EOIR, LIDAR, acoustic, PCL, layered effectors and all that. And I think this youngster is going to tell us something about it. I was speaking to Amardeep the other day, and from Armory, real good youngster, wonderful ideas. He's going to tell you what is new. Yeah, Amardeep, all yours.
You're going to ask me what's new in counter drone?
No, whatever DGCD wants. I am nobody. I am only a moderator. He is the chairman.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have been in a unique position of being on both sides of this problem. As a founding member of IdeaForce, I have built drones early on. Like I'm talking about 2008 and 2009, when no one was really building drones. We were the only company who was actually doing that. People didn't want to even buy drones. In fact, I think earlier Air Marshal...
The mic is directional. You have to keep it like that.
Yeah. Earlier Air Marshal was talking about the movie. The movie that he was talking about was Three Idiots, and it was our drone in that movie. So after like more than a decade now, when the drones were being used for surveillance, now they are the choice of weapon by the enemy, and they have become a threat now. So I've decided I'm on a new mission to build counter-drone systems, and that's when I started my company last year, Armory, to build counter-drone systems. In a very short span of time, we have been able to build one product. We have done a lot of demonstrations. We have also won tenders from Northern Command. Fortunately, unfortunately, we have not even received any IDEX or any grant, but we have still been able to push through and build the product because we have had a very, very strong focus on execution. Like I see a lot of times we can keep on planning a lot, but I think what is required is to execute those ideas. Talking about building things which are world-class, and it is great that we want to have something world-class, but there are a couple of things I want to say that we can't skip steps. We can do accelerated steps, but we can't skip steps. You can't think of going through 12th class without going through the rest of the classes. We have to just be faster at that. I think the same discussion was happening around manufacturing of chips in India, right? You can't go to 2 nanometer unless you have actually gone through the journey of building bigger ones. You have to start somewhere, and I think, which is great. I'm really appreciative of the fact that we are on this journey of being able to become semiconductor independent in the time to come. And I think that is going to be one of the biggest factors which might have stopped us of not being able to become self-reliant, and I hope that we are able to do that. So coming back to, I think, like Kiran said, that there's not going to be a single counter-drone system. It's going to be a multi-layered solution from soft kill to hard kill solutions. I think in soft kill solution, I think India is on the right journey. We have certain systems which can do well, but I think hard kill is still a little away, and I think we really need to focus on that a lot. The current, every drone companies, anyone who's supplying to defense, I think the number one priority right now is to build their drones which can work in GPS denied situations or communication denied situations. So they're literally working on something to deter our system. So it's going to be a cat and mouse game that will keep on going on and on and on. And for such systems which are autonomous, we are going to require hard kill solutions. Every hard kill solution has some problem or the other. I think probably the next session is going to talk about it more, but we have talked about high power microwave systems. But I think the challenge has been, there is one company called Epirus which is in US, which is very popular about, but they never sort of talk about the specs of their systems. I have done a lot of deep study on it to figure out that their range is not more than 500 meters. They never talk about it, but I think, and the cost of such systems is like $10–15 million. So we need to really look at that before really going, or spending money on this thing. We need to figure out if it really is the right solution for us. How much area can it really cover for that cost and the range it can cover. Laser is promising, but I think the challenges are that you can engage one threat at a time. So in Swarm, I think, and especially you need to keep on, targeting the drone for a while. Again, not talked about a lot, but I think my sense is that the time to destroy it is between 10 seconds to 1 minute or more. I think we should talk about it, like how much time are we spending on it to destroy it. And if you are going to take 30 seconds to destroy one drone, imagine if there were like 100 of them coming. So laser may not be really that particular solution. One thing that I'm sort of very optimistic on is kinetical solutions. Not like a missile, but more like modified ammunitions which can detonate close to a drone. We are working on that side as well, and I'm very, very optimistic that that could be the cheap solution that we are looking for, which can also integrate with existing logistics of existing drones. We just need to make certain adapters for the guns and then modified ammunitions. So these are some of the things that I feel are something.
I think he's given us some very new things. That's very good. But you see, Amardeep, you didn't talk about, when you talk of laser, one is the dwell time. The laser should be there on that. But the second, the more important thing I believe for a laser is the purity of the laser. I don't know if we are even concentrating on the purity of the laser. Laser has to be pure, the beam has to be focused, and then, you can achieve those ranges and things like that. And therefore, I want to come to a very different thing, talking about the layered effectors and the multiple kill options that we have, how you think of air burst munitions, interceptors, drones, high energy laser, and you talked about the high power microwave. The idea that I get from this high power microwave, I was reading some time ago, can you have a grenade, EMP grenade? Normal grenade, you take out the pin and you throw it on yourself, but the other one is, when you just have to carry this grenade by a drone and it just launches itself at a particular place and that area gets sanitized. So can we think of such different things where you do this? And therefore, how does it all fit together in the layered defense model? I want to call up Mr. Sunny Sharma, founder and CEO of IIO Technologies. So what are the new technologies that you're thinking about and how do you think?
First of all, thank you so much everyone. Jai Hind. DGCD, fantastic. He said rightly, best frequency, hopping, spread spectrum, cannot see it. So the con ops, what happened in this ops in Dur, our neighbors who are highly fragile, you can say, they got Turkish head start. They use altitude against us. Our RFPs are already on GEM and everybody gets a copy in matter of minutes, because once you get an RFP, things go, hey, ye hai kya, ye do. No matter how much NDAs are signed, so the whole world knows what India is buying. So sir rightly said ki, frequency. How do we detect it? What is the way? So I'll come back to what I like to start with the most important thing which started in the session is how do we detect? And I have a presentation, I don't know whether you'll be able to play it. It's more scary, very scary to even look at, but I think majority was discussed. But how do you detect? I'll come to technical answer, altitude again. There was an aircraft which landed in Pakistan few days back, which was not supposed to what it is carrying, I don't know, but it was not having its transponder radius beyond, but MLAT catched it. Similarly, if it is a transmitting device, what we have is direction finders looking this way, right? The only way, now what sir said, the frequencies are everywhere. No matter how much terahertz of processing you're going to do, but come on, they can be camouflaged as a cellular signal, they can be camouflaged as an analog signal. How are we going to identify it's a threat, it's a drone? Altitude again. You need to do this way direction finding, you need to do this way direction finding, sir. And that's, so there are certain solutions which has been tested in India. The frequency will be beyond 6 gigahertz. The modulation will be non-standard. It will be DSSS, it will be FHSS, so it will be tremendously hard to jam. But what is the solution? So A, we need to detect it, okay? So what I propose as we have a solution called as multilateration, where if it is transmitting, and if it is airborne, if it gets you an altitude, it has velocity and motion. Trust me, it's a drone, right? Or there might be a transmitting balloon or aerostat, but it is airborne. So a clear demarcation is needed. So I run a company which is oldest in the country. We sold an anti-drone system in 2018. So we have gone through a various learning curves, and to offer to this podium with such a senior technical thing is height, which was used against us, can be used against them. And I have a solution probably, as sir said, you're most welcome to come and discuss. And working with Army, having 180 systems, what we have understood is they have been nothing but forthcoming. They are always ready to discuss right 12 o'clock as well. So altitude, second thing is, we have seen what happened in Kazan. We have seen Operation Spiderweb. Our own communications can be used against us. Trust me, our own 4G can be used against us. The Thoria network and the Meridien network is all over us. Trust me, they really don't need to go, they can go satellite. So Spiderweb was a beautifully conducted, satellite operated, locally managed, video control gaming attack operation. But those airports had 2 transmissions coming. Because the drone was transmitting video back to the shelter, and shelter was sending it back via 4G backhaul. So there was, plus they were controlling it. So there was a video coming back, and there was somebody controlling it back, right? Not all those. There was heavy transmission. They could have avoided it. It was quite strong transmissions. Now coming to detection side and passive, which is catching, we recommend multilateration. We recommend really wideband operation. I think we have to move beyond 6 gigahertz. I really beg you. I think 8 is also not enough. I think we have to talk 12 to 18 gigahertz. Why? Because it's quite easy now to create a short and long range communications. Plus the radar technologies has to be holistic in nature. And most importantly, what we have developed is a citizen tactical integrated application, which is already doing certain things where all of you can be drone detectors. And it is all connected to a backhaul, and where that shelter which dropped and initial takeoffs which happened could have been reported, and those airports could have turned on at least. So if you see, I had it in presentation, but I think it's more of a technical dialogue. They did turn on their jammers. If you see the video of Spiderweb, initially a high quality video, and then you see a fail-safe. So they did turn on, but it was quite late. So it was a kind of a very coordinated action. Small recommendation from my side. I think, as sir said, detection is the key. So we are working on things. Jamming is going to be a very painful process. So we are working on that front as well. And 4G is another threat which we have not even stepped upon. So you need to really, even that is another threat to be looked up. And a coherent ecosystem where everybody, including you, see things can happen within the soil now. We have seen that happening, and it's been educated globally now. Okay, if somebody has to do a good, he's not going to do it on the border. He's going to hit where it really hurts bad. Getting the drones organized and getting it operated, remotely controlled is not a big challenge. So I think the vitality, or as he said, the threat quotient is getting very higher. I have few solutions to offer and ready to discuss. I think it's all about discussing and finding and working with all those companies. As Israel works so Elbit, Elta and all are sitting in the same room and they're discussing, तुम्हारे पास क्या है, तुम इसके साथ ये बनाओ, तुम ये करो. That's the nature what is needed, rather than competing against each other. If somebody has some uniqueness, as sir said, the best can only happen where best of everybody's capability is jointly overlooked, and somehow we don't publish things on internet. Is two cents from my side.
Collaborative swarming is what you're saying, right? Okay, thank you for that. That was very interesting from the panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have come to the end of the session. But I just thought, if the DGCD permits, we can take a couple of questions. Yeah. Anybody? Only 2 questions, sir. Huh? Only 2. Can I give it to the youngster? Yeah. Yes, you. Nobody behind you. Yeah.
Sir, Ravi Agrawal from Macrom NC. Sir, I have one or two very specific, very small questions. Is it the possibility of controlling the batteries? Because every UAV have a battery. because signal spoofing and all other things are very costly. So is it possibility of controlling the battery, either controlling the BMS that are used by the UAVs? And is there possibility of having integrated control and command centers, like Mr. Group Captain said, to know which is the state actor, which is the non-state actor? Because after next 5 or 10 years, it may be possibility that anti-drone systems may be required by the internal and homeland security also, for the maintaining the law and order in the riots and other kind of situations, like Nepal had seen. Thank you.
Group Captain Narang. We'll take a couple of questions in the end. I think we'll answer. Yeah.
Sir, you said best. We want best. And in technology, it is said best is the enemy of good. Just very small, sir. US, China, Pakistan, they are partners in development. Indian Army has moved from user to the facilitator. Today, what is happening is facilitator. But the best from industry will come when Indian Army becomes partners in development. So there is a reform required. And if I give an example of TB2, it was not best. It was only at 16,000 feet altitude it was inducted. Today it is 30,000 feet. Same is the case with ALH. So my humble about technology trajectory, who knows better than Kuber sir, he himself understands technology. So when we handhold technology, you don't start from the best, you aspire for the best. So one question which probably industry people, I know Indian Army has been facilitating in technology development. So my only humble question is, can we make a mechanism for, let's say, now counter drone is more complex than the drone, because jammers, they can't test jamming outside. If hard kill, they can't do hard kill outside. A weapon they can't do outside. Can Indian Army provide one approach of design development under the one standard station could be designated where any innovator can come and develop it? All approvals, one single window can be provided to them for design, development, testing and certification.
Right.
So I think that's it.
Akal Manik, you wanted to? Only question, please. Yeah, time more.
No, I have a variation of opinion what the DGCD said, since I've been working in the MOD for 3.5 years. Sir, you said that you really want the best, but I'm sure what we felt in the Ministry of Defense was that we have to do a competency mapping of the industry. So unless the Indian Armed Forces accept what the industry can build at a particular point of time, it was not going to happen that you get it from outside.
Right.
So that needs to be accepted.
Right. Sensei. So that will be the last question, sir, after that. There, Sensei. Sensei here, and then one more.
Sensei Raj, Vision Year 2032. It was a great opening salvo from General Gore. But then my counter question is, if we cannot even think about what the future is going to be 10 years down the road, what is best? Number one. Number two, Sunny, you have hit the nail on the head. Are we mapping and using all of our dimensions that we can think of? I expected somebody to actually go beyond laser when you talked about. Have we looked at the fifth pillar of defense, that is the space? If you could possibly look and dwell on it, that'll be great. Yeah. And then we are not looking ecosystem. I think, right. Colonel Kuber, you hear it right. If we could talk on the ecosystem development, I think this country needs to learn to play the team game first. Thank you.
Right. Sir, that's the last question, please. Anyway, the idea was only to take questions, no answers.
Since technical questions have already been raised, I would like to ask a bit general question. Say, India spend on R&D is only 0.5% of it, while advanced countries are spending much higher. And in fact, in USA, if you see, the private sector is spending more on R&D compared to, in India, only the government is spending on R&D. Hardly anything is being done. So I was just wondering whether government can mandate it. So like they have mandated it, 2% of their profit should be spent on CSR. They have mandated it. So every industry has to do that.
Let us not allow the government to mandate anything. Already they are mandating so many other things.
Yes,
you say, let's not, and then let's go.
Yeah. So, firstly, sometimes when you air your sentiments, the question is answered. Yeah. So I think I could understand from the chair that let's take one more question. Is when you air your sentiment, you feel you're answered partly. Certain things which you asked, I think the most important one which you asked was the ability to get the testing and the ecosystem for the companies and startups to come ahead and do that. I think that is where we are also looking at. While the DTTI, which was supposed to be their defense testing infrastructure, which is supposed to come up in the 2 corridors, has not come up. For the reasons best known. This model that across these corridors we'll have the defense testing infrastructure, and thereafter hubs will be created, which will be the hubs for the manufacturers to come and test themselves, has not happened. So you must understand, when you look at testing infrastructure where ranges are required, it also impinges on what training that the armed forces have to done themselves. So the ability of the training ranges for our own training and also giving them for others sometimes becomes a challenge. So, but we are trying to address this by creating some places where there will be some EW environment created in some interval of time. You can come and test your solutions in those EW contested environment. We can also kind of give you some simulated environments for you to come and test. So I can guarantee you that that we are going to improve, and we have already improved after doing these demos which we did, where number of you participated in when the EP or emergency procurement came up, and I can tell you that we are improving by the day. We are inviting you to test your systems in the best possible conditions. We are hand holding as much we can, but you must remember at the end, defense is a peculiar market. Your own government is a single buyer, unless you have excellence that you can export it outside. And therefore, the systems which I am asking you to make have to be best in class in the world for this reason, so that you can expand. If you cannot expand, you will not have a business model. And therefore, while I agree that you have to start from class 1 or class 2 to reach class 12, but I am afraid the time is running out. You have to do homeschooling to reach class 12, because you have the capability to do it. Today, the best of the chip designers in the world, 20%, 30% of our Indians, of course, working in the US. So, even in the chip segment, if you look at the 3 chip segments, that is the design, we are there. Packaging, we are finally possibly going to come up. The only thing that is possibly there is manufacturing, where 2 nanometers, no, but yes, 100 plus nanometers, we are going to be doing it in the country. So, my short and long answer to this is that the industry will get the necessary hand-holding, the industry will get the necessary answers to their questions, but they will have to come up with excellence. Only excellence will survive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to express my gratitude to General Vineet for very, very insightful experiences and the vision that he has given out, to Group Captain Srinivas Prasad for your comments, for Rajesh to you, and Madam Dharani, I wish your nakshatram was Bharani, but yes, thank you very much for that, as being the CTO of the largest electronics company. And Kiran, thank you so much. Your Indrajal was such a great hit, even in the Philippines. And the defense minister, I think, was there, who became the president or something like that. When you went there, it was very good. Amardeep, you're fantastic. And I think you can really do what you wanted to do. You should go ahead. And Sunny, that was very insightful. I would love to see your presentation. I'm sure you got many more ideas. The oldest company down there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic panel. A big round of applause for them. They have done very good for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. A wonderful panel and engrossing discussion. Many things to take away from it, sir. We have to make a recommendation and submit to the DGCD and other relevant officers, sir. Thank you so much. Before we conclude, I would request Brigadier Monish Datta and Colonel Kuber to kindly honor the DGCD with a memento. We have a very important session just coming up. We are running 15 minutes late, but we'll have a session start just after this session. I would request you to kindly felicitate Group Captain Srinivas, please. And then obviously Group Captain Srinivas from the AD Directorate, Indian Air Force, Madam Dhirani. I would request Brigadier Saab to kindly felicitate Madam Dharani B, the Chief Technology Officer from Bharat Electronics Limited. She looks after radar and weapon systems. Mr. Kiran Raj, the founder and CEO of Indrajal. Thank you so much, Kiran. Mr. Sunny Sharma, the founder and CEO of IIO Technologies. Mr. Rajesh Shalat, and also to Mr. Amardeep Singh, the founder, Armory. Thank you, Amardeep, for being here. Thank you, sir. I would request for a group photograph if everyone can come in the front. And then we'll have a session. Let's start right away. Thank you so much, all the dignitaries and the eminent panelists. We'd like to start the next session. We'll just take 2 minutes to change the dais, and then we are going right away in the next session, which is Emerging Technologies in Air Defense System, which will be chaired by Air Vice Marshal Rajiv Ranjan, retired, the former Assistant Chief of Integrated Staff Committee, HQIDS, moderated by Group Captain Rajiv Kumar Narang, VM, retired, and Senior Fellow at Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defence Analysis. The panelists are Air Commodore Aman Nautiyal from Bharat Electronics, Group Captain Rituraj Tyagi, the Marketing Director of Aeronautics, the Saab India, Shri Ashok Vadavan, the Joint President and Headland Systems Adani, Shri Rajkumar Pandey, the CEO of Airbornics Defence and Systems Limited, Dr. Nagendra Babu. I would request, we'll just call the eminent panelists. We'll take 2 minutes. Please be seated. We are starting the session. I would like to invite AVM Rajiv Ranjan. Air Commodore Aman Nautiyal ji, please, if you can kindly be seated, we will be starting this. The advisor of Bell, Group Captain Rituraj Tyagi, the Marketing Director from Saab India, Group Captain Narang, the moderator for the session. I would like to invite you. I would request everyone to be seated, please. Please, I would request everyone to be kindly settle down, please. Dr. Nagendra Babu Samineni, the Managing Director of Unistring, Shri Nagendran Kandasamy, the co-founder of Zulu Defence Systems, The session would cover the types of, I would request everyone to kindly be seated. Everyone to be seated, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think lunch is getting cold. Can we sit down and we can start the next session, please? Okay, right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are more or less ready. So I should commence the session. I have some few slides to show to you in which essentially the first one is what Prime Minister talked of Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Normally everybody is talking of a defensive system. However, if you remember, Chakra is also for the offensive. And one of the aspect is denying the sanctuary for the adversary for conducting
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to take your seats? This is a problem when Gavaskar come for batting after Dhoni. So now, but I can't start with Dhoni. My inning has to start with the best. So may I, ladies and gentlemen, please understand, Air Marshal Rajiva Ranjan has been a big supporter of technology. He's led many initiatives in various capacities, and those who are in industry, they know him well. And it is my privilege to have him as my chair. So I humbly request you to pay attention to him. Some of the things he's taken pain to prepare slides for you to understand those aspects.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Rajiv. Essentially, see, the mission Sudarshan Chakra is not only the defensive system. It's an offensive, which country already showed. That is BrahMos hitting all those bases and those systems getting knocked out. Also, the next level is your cognitive domain. So it's a mixture of the defensive, offensive, cognitive, kinetic, non-kinetic, cyber, EW, space, whole lot of every system essentially is the crux of multi-domain operation. Somebody asked, did Prime Minister has to give us a way forward? How do we go about future warfare? Armed forces were doing multi-domain operation concept. Technologies they were seeking. But however, armed forces never fight the war. It's the whole nation fights the war. So the national call has come through this particular phrase that we need to get ready. So have a look at that, including deception and decoy are part and parcel of our war fighting. Then cognitive domain. One needs to understand what is the leadership and what is the country aiming for, what are their intent. You see some chess board, some movement, and you need to forecast what are the activity is doing because the way he has been thinking and acting. So all those AI based tools would be required. So this is what essentially the data state, non-state actor and deny any cross-domain sanctuaries while retaining strategic ambiguity. I'll move to the next one. Generally everybody is aware of from while Baker Valley was the first time drone exploitation started happening in the deception, for deception, but the recent time from 2014 or thereabout from Syria, Libya, thereafter 1920, Armenia, Azerbaijan, then subsequently Hamas, Yemen war, Iran attack, Op Sindoor and Ukraine, Russia war, all those things are happening. In all this, one of the major thing has happened is technology cycle. Olden time technology cycle was driven by procurement cycle. It was a slow process, long lead time. Technology is to change very slowly. But now with fourth industrial revolution, everything is happening rapidly. And also the civilian segment has taken over because most of the technologies are dual in nature other than the kinetic forms of the system. So also when you look at the various counter drone system, none of one system has got this answer for everything. Also, when you look at the probability of intercept, a slide beyond that, I've written it, I'll leave it with the PhD, so that you all can have a look at that. You'll find that you need a combination to have the solution. And in air defense, there is a thumb rule. One layer probability of success of interception or detection would be generally around 80-85 in the modern system. Put the second layer, you reach 90. You put the third layer, 93 or 94. And beyond that, it becomes very difficult. So therefore, there will be always a leaker. For that, you need to have electronic warfare system, soft kill. So what Russians had done was, from the border, they had put behind a layer of the soft kill and embedded the hard kill system, both of them. And also the offensive system was protected by this particular umbrella of soft and hard kill. Okay, I have just put down a busy slide for you. What is the replicator concept? Earlier it was talked of. USAF came up with replicator and the replicator 2, in which they said you need to have the core technology identified and go into the industrial grade mass production. And for me, for counter drone is RF SoC. Same chip is detecting, analyzing, characterizing. Thereafter counter signal processed one is doing, and 5 watt of the amplification is happening. So from the rifle butt, 200 gram, now SUV based. And the ranges, etc. I have talked of various capabilities, what is being jamming, power, whole lot of things I have put on in the slide. If you do this, you'll be billionaire in next 10 years. Because every rifle butt would be requiring a jammer. Because everyone, every trench, every infrastructure, everyone would be targeted by the drones. Okay. The summing up essentially for me is examine the TPCR 2025. Where do you fit in? Make your vision roadmap. Go out to the contact person, say this is what I am willing to do. This is my feasibility study. This is my technology proof of concept. Guide me next stage. Next is your replicator 2. Please look at the technology and try and invest. Also, we need to have a balance between kinetic and non-kinetic. How do you counter the fiber FPV? Would be a challenge. But the solution could be as simple as putting a net over your head so that that doesn't penetrate. Next is photonics. Semiconductor everybody is trying to build. For me, photonics is semiconductor 2.0 because processing of the signal, normally if you do with the semiconductor olden time from valve 20 to 100 megahertz, we have RF SoC gives you up to 1 to 5 gigahertz, but photonics will do the processing instantaneous would be 50 to 100 gigahertz. Also, if at the back end, if you have got a processor for photonics based, you can do all the job much faster. GPU is much, processing power is better. The future would be one who would be able to stop the drone smartly and much more faster and maybe not let them fly. Something like a boxer system. Boxer till now was only defending. Now you need a offensive system, a punch from where the drones are being controlled and launched so that drone, they don't get airborne. Market Ops Sindur. Okay, all those industry who got opportunity to deploy their system in Ops Sindur, you got operational exposure. You saw your system where it was. Spoofer proofed far better than the simple jammers. So there is an opportunity for you in exercise early October, what the DECIDOP said. So through organizer or through Group Captain Narang, you all can reach out. We'll share the contact detail and you'll officially get a letter to come and do that participation in that exercise if you have a system. And once you do the exercise, obviously you come into the imagination of the buyer and the services. Also your system get polished and you pass the muster very well. And also, can we create some of the centers for the drone and counter drone? Beautifully shown to Group Captain Narang. Fantastic. Also, from skill, we need to move to the talent. Skill will give you only duty 9 to 5. Talent will give you innovation. And towards that, Government of India Engineering College Padhai, they are changing to align with the defense need with a minor in the BTech and MTech. Thank you very much.
See, this is the advantage of having a person like him. So he keeps the attention so I can relax. But very important point, I have everyone sitting around me is, despite being pilot, they are technically more qualified than me. But I have, I'll share what I felt counter drone meant to me. 8th October, I got a call at around 8 o'clock. He said, are you available for an interview? I said, what? Then he sent me some videos. I said, I want to know what exactly is there. I don't want to go by newspaper. They sent me some reports. I went over it. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Next 2 days were sleepless nights because I had authored counter drone report for headquarter IDS and SIDM. And I knew where the challenges could come. That was the stage that night I understood what does AI mean, because I am not a technically qualified. That night on 9th night, I was just thinking, these L70 guns, can I integrate all 4 L70 guns or 6 L70 guns? Each L70 gun taking on different targets, having an autonomy to move from one target to the another target, and then, taking multiple swarms of drones coming to us. That night I understood the value of AI in counter drone system. That night I wanted one shot to hit one drone. So I understood the army's philosophy of ek goli, ek aadmi. I wanted it to happen. Then I wanted ammunition which will destroy in one go. So I understood the value of munition which will neutralize drones. And then I understood the value of counter UAV system which will differentiate between own drone and the adversary's drone. We were launching and they were launching. Luckily, timings were different, but future wars could get prolonged, and we want the low cost, and the cost is limited. We are a developing country. We cannot launch like Israel missiles for small drones. So we want ek goli, ek drone. That is the role we have to play as a counter drone system. Ek goli, ek drone. And एक ड्रोन swarm आएंगे तो भी take कम करेंगे. Swarm is a challenge which we are facing. Now, look at we talked about integration. They were talking about green robotics. I just want to ask: is our paramilitary forces integrated with the defense forces? Are the defense forces integrated adequately? Now, there are two types of integration. First is the drone, your friendly drone, and second is your own counter drone system. So there are complexities in this system, and these solutions I asked from my co-panelists who are very well qualified, and I would like them to keep their whatever timing to 3 to 4 minutes. Questions I have already passed, PCK, pre-course knowledge, I have already passed on to them. So please don't ask. But I'll still tell you, just to tell you what I wanted from Commodore Aman Nautiyal on my right side. I wanted to understand drone, missile and manned aircraft capability of Pakistan in one line, as my predecessor had said. And similarly, what threats, challenges we face. Has India, Indian Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, BSF, ITBP, others players been operating drone and counter drone system, their level of integration, which I raised in my comments. And what do you think about India integrating counter drone systems on attack helicopters? Because I find we are not thinking in a counter drone system as an airborne counter drone system, because there is an issue which we need to think out of box. Every time it's not the ground-borne counter drone system. And airborne counter drone systems have a payload carrying limitation. We need lightweight radars, we need tracking and neutralization systems, which can be of any range. Can we fix it on drone? Can we fix it on helicopters? Can we fix it on maybe a small aircraft? So think big. Before sir you start, I will just caution my audience. I will have one phrase and one word questions from the audience at the end. If you have any comment, it will be one phrase, one sentence is a penalty, and if you have answers in one word, suggestion. So I want everyone to participate, but with the logic and focused attention. So, to you.
The best thing about Group Captain Narang is that, first he gives you the questions so you feel he's your friend. Then those questions are like PhD research, and then he gives you 3 minutes to cover it all. So at the end of it, you're really not sure whether he's friend or foe, but he's been a friend for a long, long time. So I've done some research, and when you do the analysis of our Western neighbor, that is where our concentration lies. Please remember there are these a few aspects about air power which you must always remember. Even the best, that is Israel, they win one war and they almost lose the next one because of overconfidence. Till such time they make amends midway through the operations, and then they come back and they win the war. Whether we won the last one, whether we will win the next one, I don't want to discuss. But I just want to tell everybody that the adversary is extremely intelligent. And more so, he is so intelligent, he is a part of us only. Means he just got separated 70, 80 years back. And he is intelligent enough to come back next time with a vengeance to defeat us. And this is the logic which each one of us as countrymen need to understand. So there is this JF-17 and the PL-15 missile combination which worked or did not work, and then there is this swarm which came, and whether they could swarm properly, and whether they wanted to concentrate in time or space, because swarm has only intention of either concentrating in time or in space, and whether it worked for them or no, and whether they had adequate money to create and to procure equipment from their friends across the world, and whether all that happens are questions which are in the past, and we are beginning to delve more and more into this, which is our area of concern, because we need to be thinking differently, we need to be thinking into the future. One of my papers has got accepted at senior level with the military. That is only because it is so different that they haven't thought of it yet. And that is the kind of technologies we'll have to think into as we go into the future if we need to win the next one. So I'm not going to concentrate on what Pakistan can do and what we can do. We are all aware of that. Our vulnerabilities are that whether we are capable enough to handle swarms and to cater loitering munitions, whether the NASR will surprise us, and whether the nuclear bluff has been called and it will not get repeated, whether detention these gaps in our detection and collation of information and finding good solutions. That is why I joined BEL, because suddenly I realized as an operator, the scientist doesn't think like the operator. But it is the operator who finally takes the bullet. So he is not interested in what you are creating till such time. It is not simple enough for me to handle in those 2 milliseconds that I have before I get shot. If I get shot, I won't be here and I won't be telling you the story. So, integration within CAP, forget the CAPF, even within the Air Force, Navy and Army stays a challenge even after the making of the headquarter IDS. We are aware of that, and we need to keep that. Regulatory frameworks and how we will utilize assets into the future, whether we will be able to scale up logistically, and whether we will be able to integrate those technologies in time to shape up to give a conclusive enough reply. And what are the human and doctrinal changes, because the next generation thinks very differently. We think they understand us, but they don't. So when they come into the game of military, we joined the military to give our life for the nation to win a war. The new generation, when they join the military, they see what best they can get out of the military. That is not the way you want the next generation to fight. If we have to have contiguous borders with other nations into the future, we need to get this generation to think territorial. You need to explain to them what a border means and how it needs to be guarded even with your own life. There is, there is this challenge which I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of whatever the thing is. There is this challenge we need to remember. Even for AI, we keep saying AI, there needs to be past history. There needs to be data for you to write an LLM and this, that, everything, and then the system starts behaving like that. When you talk in terms of futuristic systems, of systems like Narang is saying which change overnight, there is no past knowledge. Then you make a model, you train it, you collect data, you retrain it, and you continue, and you hope that whatever you are doing will stand the test of the next operation. I hope I made sense on the last one, because that is the bottom line of when I sit with the engineers, it is difficult to explain to them that we cannot sleep these nights because technology is changing overnight. And we require the technology tomorrow morning. I can't wait till 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because if the attack takes place at 7, I need to be responsive to that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I move to my next. Again, I have to follow sequence because I've written questions in sequence. Tyagi sir, anything he's missed out which you think is bugging you and you'd like to add those points? And now it make life little difficult. With the drones and hypersonics and missiles coming into play, where do we place these drones in that entire matrix of air defense threats which India is facing, and how do we prepare for that?
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts here. And previously, Eric Moronodial has covered many things. And I feel that this challenge of drone, what we talk about, defense against drone, it's a air defense, the last part of it, that's a close range where we need to defend ourselves, because long range solutions, medium range solutions are surface to air missiles which are taking care of it. And there's a gap which is there, which is a prominent gap, that entry drone specialist weapon. Today what we have is Visharat and then the guns. And we are using them against drones also. Visharat is expensive, as Air Marshal Dixit brought out, that we need to have economy of scale also. So specific entry drone weapons which cater for a distance, let's say from 2 kilometers to 5 kilometers, which can take care of swarms, which can take care of, and it's a cost effective. And to be cost effective, firstly the shelf life has to be much more, because you need to store it. Secondly, the production rate at any given time should be ramped up to a state where it can be produced at least the way drones are produced, if not more than that. If one weapon of that kind takes 10, then at least the production rate has to be 1/10 of that, which is very difficult, right? Because weapons are a specialist thing. So to cater for that gap, which I think exists, there should be a specialist weapon, entry drone weapon. And we at Saab looked at it 3-4 years back. We realized that was a challenge, and we developed a system which is called Nimbrix, and it is on the TRL 6 or 7 stage today, which is a man-pad sort of, which is a less than 1 meter missile, about weighs 3 kgs, has got active sensors, and which is a fire and forget solutions. It can be man-pad, and the biggest challenge is how to integrate it. You have various sensors lying there, whether electro-optical, whether acoustics, whether RF, whether radar. Out of that, you got to decide at what distance, which threat are you going to handle. It's not that every threat which shows up at 10 kilometers, you want to handle at 10 kilometers. You can handle it and longer you handle it, the more expensive the solution. You want to handle something at 200 kilometers, that's 2,000 times more expensive than what you want to handle at 20 kilometers. So you need to decide, and that's where the AI, what we are talking about, that whole algorithm of detect, identify, and decide what's the best course of action to handle that. That's where the whole challenge lies. And you may have weapons, you may have sensors, you may have this thing and for example, and another gap which I think we need to address is on our air defense system, which little bit of my knowledge in the last 6-7 years working outside the uniform in the industry is that I find that solutions which we want, as for yesterday, we have not been able to have them, like Army is a triple LR solution in terms of numbers when we started. For example, Visharat, where we started and where we are in the acquisition in terms of numbers and protecting all those things. Those gaps, if today we want to have iPhone 17 to work with, by time I'm sure we acquire iPhone 17 and we want indigenous content in that also, by the time we get it, it will be time for iPhone 27.
So what you're saying is we need to have more faster induction when it's evolving system. This is what you're saying?
Faster induction, and when we said we want the best is not be best by the time we acquire it. So we need to have faster induction.
Faster induction.
Okay. And also this gap of entry drone weapon, that need to be fixed in our solutions as far as the short range solution is concerned.
Short range is the gap you're saying.
Short range, I think there's a gap. Today what we have is the Vishora like Igla, for example, which caters to, and then we have the gun. In between there's a gap. And that gap needs to be filled. And of course,
so between 1 and 4 kilometer, you're saying roughly?
I would say between 2 and 5 kilometers.
2 and 5 kilometers.
2 and 5 kilometers.
Excellent.
And Igla is what you call is an expensive thing. We need, and when you want to handle between 2 and 5, the swarm and all those things, we should be able to handle it effectively. That's where I think the gap lies in our handling, and it's a kinetic solution or another solution. Another thing is what I pointed out, that detect. Everyone said detect. What do you do after detecting?
Correct.
Right? You identify, and then decide what's the best course of action in handling it. And today it's humanly not possible to do that thing. It has to be aided by the AI, the decision support system, to shoot or not to shoot, at what distance to shoot, and which weapon to shoot. Right? That can be only given by AI, and it's not possible, humanly not possible, to have all those sensor information. You may have best of sensors, but finally you go to kill. That killing is only possible if you have decision support system which is aided by AI, and which we at Saab are working very closely, and we have solutions whether it's in the air or on the ground. Thank you so much.
Artificial intelligence, I said Ops Sindoor actually taught me what artificial intelligence, and I think automation is also something which is taught by Ops Sindoor. Because when I relate to this close distance neutralization of system, you must realize if a human being starts taking decision, we are very slow. We will always send it to the senior officer. So automation and acceptance of automation by the hierarchy will have to become an order of the day. And I think it will require a lot of human changes. Now I come to my next, Ashokji, you are representing a big company which drone and counter-drone system innovators look up to. Now, and your company has a history of, taking over, supporting startups, collaborating with international players, manufacturing for international players. Now, sometimes that creates a confusion that where is indigenous content? How do we address, and how are we developing indigenous capabilities? And secondly, what will be your guidance to the startups which are looking up to you? How do we bridge the gap between a startup and a big player like your entity? How do we work together to achieve Atmanirbharta? And how have you been managing, because no international partner wants to part with the technology. How do you manage these complexities of these relations?
Thank you so much. This is a very complex situation right now which we are in, of drones and counter drones. And it's not just drones, it's, I would say, drones which identify, it's loitering which is more offensive, where we go out and it's an attack mode, as well as counter drone system which impacts it. So we started working on counter drone system looking at kinetic say 10-12 years back, where we wanted to upgrade our existing weapon system, which is ZU to become a counter drone system. And I'm talking about 12 years back, when nobody was even thinking about what it would be. How are we looking at it? So we realized counter drone system is important. Counter drone system is important 5 years back when we took over airports, and we saw there were some drones which were coming, and there were times when couple of hours our airports used to come down, or they were looking at how to tackle it. So we started working on counter drone, and counter drone initially, because of airports, we were only looking at electronic, which means detection, which could be a radar, electro-optic, which everyone's talking about now, or RF reader, and then jamming the system, which does not impact the aircraft, but jams the drones which are coming in. So we got that system, and you're right. Anything which you do, there are two ways to do it. Either you build from scratch, which is R&D. You ask a startup, which you give a use case to him and they develop it, or you bring a technology which exists from outside and then bring it. I think the answer lies in mixing all of them together. So today, what we are doing is we work on loiterings, which is not just small loiters, which is like kamikaze drones, but strategic loiters which go up to 200 kilometers or 800 as an attack mode, which gives us an understanding of what, if we are bringing the best-in-class technology, how it will be countered, right? So our one team is working on building those capability. The other team is working on saying how do we protect it from there. So it helps to work on both sides. In counter drone, we are looking at layered system. When a mass of 5,000 or 7,000 kamikaze drones come in, the first way it has to be is jammed by electronic mode, because you will not be able to take it out. That should happen around looking at our borders, and every geography is different. In our borders, it should be around 20 kilometers to 15 kilometers. Jamming should start at around 10 kilometers to 12 kilometers, so that nothing can penetrate that. Once it reaches there, we will have to take it out kinetically, or we will have to take it out with either laser or microwaves. We are working on both. We are getting a laser which is around 5 kilometers, which can take that out, 30 or 36 kilowatt laser. We already have developed. If it penetrates that, then our kinetic energy has to take over, because laser does take out, but like a swarm which is coming, kinetic energy, which could be a gun, which is what we are working on, upgrading a gun which automatically slews their fires, ammunition. So in our ammunition part, we are looking at pre-fragmented ammunition which goes there and attacks it, so we are building that capability. If it penetrates even further down, we have just got our LMGs, and we just tested it. 2 LMGs which take over at 800 or 900 meters and take those out, because the cost of taking it out has to be cheaper. We work on Iglas and we work on Vizorats, we're developing both, but you're talking about a much expensive weapon to take out a cheaper weapon system. So an LMG which takes out in 2 or 3 shots, like you said, is what we've just integrated and demonstrated recently.
Excellent.
So 800 meters. And we have also built a laser which is 800 meters. So, so you will have to have those layers. And last, what we are right now developing, which is absolutely new, and I would see in a matter of a few months, we should be having that, is interceptor drone, which is high speed, up to 5 kilometers, and it goes in mass and it attacks the drones to do it. Now, it sounds interesting, but it's technically, it requires a lot of complications, because first of all, like you said, we may not be in an environment where we will have all our enemies' drones coming in. It could be, we have to identify friend and foe. We have to send the drone, it has to be faster in speed. Secondly, it has to explode at the right moment of time that it takes out the thing. We have that capability, and from both sides. We are working with partners outside, but when we work, we are looking at partners.
Your partners outside is interesting. How do you manage the,
So it's a complex situation. You have to work on, you have to understand that you have to bring in from day one, like when we built one of our loiterings, which has been a strategic loitering. From day one, we got 70% of the technology in India.
Now, are we talking of technology in terms of subsystems or the cost?
Everything. So we, from today, leaving out the engine, which we could not get initially, not because they did not want to give, because the numbers did not give us
that cost,
which we are bringing now.
Wonderful.
Which we are bringing as D level and then manufacturing it. Starting from warheads to electro-optic to sensors, we've got everything being done in India and being manufactured in India, not among ourselves. Like you said, how do you manage the ecosystem? The way we look at it is that we don't do manufacturing everything ourselves. From day one, when we take a partner, we choose a partner in India and we get the technology to the partner, funded by us, NRE by us, but manufactured there. So that they can support us, because that's the only way you can build an ecosystem which exists.
I have one suggestion. I would like to see Adani Center of R&D in the US or Africa or North South America.
Right. So we started
where we create IP for Adani.
So we build our first design center. We call it the R&D center in Delhi. We are just expanding this with 100 plus engineers working only on R&D and specifically on loitering and a couple of land system programs. And the new office is coming up in Aero City, which will house them.
Very good.
As of now, we are in Okla.
And one more, because my expectation dil mange more.
Sure, absolutely.
I am a Fauji, so heart of heart, I am Fauji. You know, I was watching Raja Sabri Khan of Pakistan Integrated Dynamics. He sponsors, he has a center of excellence in some of the academic institutions. So I think one day I would like to see Adani center of excellence somewhere inside.
Absolutely. So what we are also doing is that we have working with 2 or 3 startups where we have absorbed them totally in our wing, starting from doing R&D. Both of them are loitering and successful now. We are moving towards it. We are working with IIT Kanpur now to see how we can have a center of excellence there on...
Wonderful. I think it calls for a clap.
So
I think if we have big industries taking ownership, I hope we will have IPR generation held in India. So that's very important.
Absolutely. So it has to be, because like Sir said, the technology is moving so fast. We have to have multi-pronged approach in India if we want to catch up. We can get technology from outside because that is required, but we have to build capability in-house to be able to upgrade the technology to be able to do it. So all sides we're working. Speed is an essence. So hopefully in next 2 to 3 years you'll see a changed scenario where we'll have a lot of capability.
When are you going to transfer technology to the Israelis? I look forward to those days.
So as of now, what we have done is, we want to do the same thing. Right now, we are doing a joint R&D program with IP residing in India and manufacturing residing in India, which will be announced soon. That's the first step, which is a joint R&D. But you're right. Next would be to make here. And
so I'm giving tough challenges to our big players. Now I come to our hard-working lot on the left side, who are trying to answer some of these questions. I have Rajkumar Pandey ji. But before you start, again, Googly, challenges which you thought are relevant, and limitations you thought probably, we are going gaga, we have succeeded. So I want you to identify some of the challenges, limitations, hard kill. How do we address some of those issues?
Sure. So good afternoon to everybody. I think let me first introduce myself. Myself Rajkumar Pandey. I represent a company called ADSL, Airborne Defense and Space Private Limited. I've been in defense for more than now 20 years. I've been working various areas like the land defense domains and now in man-unmanned teaming. So I like to address the team now. I think we have many sessions happened. Third session happening where we have spoken about various technological aspects. Like we spoke about our ability to understand what frequencies to band, what we were readiness in terms of scenarios, our threat scenarios, our in terms of scenarios to beat our enemies. But the most important point here, which I like to bring out, which is a little different, and which I would like to bring out here, is the scenario. See, we have in any threat scenario is very complex. It is never a linear scenario. It could be anything, and there can be a different threats. There can be a different types of scenarios. There can be a different types of strategy to meet them. So any product, let's say we have any products, and our ability to meet those needs could be also depending on our strategies. Like we were trying to look at some products like what Ashok ji spoke about Ju 23 upgrades. That's a great product. If you look at that product, I think in earlier they have done upgrades and they have found out how to do this. So in terms of, if we look at these products, we have a lot of legacy products, but they were not ready. So these were our limitations. When we were fighting this war, we had not thought of our scenarios. What could be the scenarios? We had some products, we had some indigenous products, but mostly dependent on some foreign supply chain. If we have to scale them up, if we have to, let's say, have some flexibility to create something new, it's a challenge. So with this challenge and with the ability, my recommendation will be that we create a, it is not possible for one company to really create a product which can be taken for any scenarios. So LRU build up is more important. That's why as a company, ADSL took a step that we'll build up all the LRUs before we can build the products. Building product is more of application.
We understand. So what are the focus areas of LRUs?
So for us, let's say we started working on man-unmanned teaming, especially in the areas of air defense and also counter-UAS systems. So we first area what we started was detection. So we started a development of a very lightweight radar for any mobile or a static application, a 4-dimensional radar. So I am proud to say that what scenario you pose for Ashok, we are ready to transfer that technology to the Western Europe today.
I would like first to be transferred to our Indian entities because the product has to proliferate. Because I find there is a lack of collaboration amongst ourselves. Don't you think it's a problem?
It's a problem. It's a problem. Actually, like.
So what would be your message to our maybe defense forces or the industry players, big players?
If you look at any big let's say programs, like for example FIC or light tank, they are multi-physics programs, and normally we fight with each other to basically.
Are you offering him something?
Yes, why not?
Tell him.
APS is what I offer to them. We are already working together in many programs.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's what collaboration is the way.
So collaboration
I think
is.
If we have to become really a developed nation, Viksit Bharat, we have to learn the art of collaborating, which we lack because we were only a product suppliers of the product. If you have to really become integrator, what people are doing, I think is very important. And I find even today, we don't know about our industry, but we know what China makes. He makes T motors, he makes all that. If I ask people how many motor manufacturers are there, few people know few people, others know others, but nobody knows the brand India. So I think we need to create a brand India. We need to really work together.
Yes. Similarly, like we spoke about radar, lightweight radar for APS, active protection system.
My only aspiration is what your LRU is developing. People are not aspiring to integrate your system. Same way he's also working on another system. But when I ask the users or I ask the other production partners, some of that aspiration has not come. How do we fill this gap?
See, that will come. See, idea is when you really demonstrate. Let's say what we have taken a target of, let's say, demonstrating a APS by, let's say, this September. So what we intend to do is basically to show a scenario of a detection and a hard killing also. We have recently developed a system of a small, a smart ammunition which can kill, and this is very, very fragmented.
So you are working on ammunitions as well as LRUs?
We are working on ammunition, we are working on jamming techniques, we are working on some...
is there a duplication sort of thing?
No, we are not duplicating. I'm saying, let's say, I'm not working on laser. I'm ready to take laser from anybody. Okay. Or we are, let's say, we are talking about, let's say, other command controls. We are ready to collaborate with people.
So I'll just, since we are a little short of time, Dr. Nagendra, how's you've been involved in various kind of counter-drone systems from beginning, and after Op Sindoor, what is your realization? And now we'll have to be a little cryptic so that we can focus. I want to talk to some of our audience also. Yeah. So my humble request is your key points you highlight in a short time, and same to you. How do you think we need to move forward? And where the specific gap, rather than saying gap, solutions from your side?
Yeah. So there are two aspects that I would like to cover.
See, any crisis is an opportunity. At the same time, it's a learning for us. So there are a lot of learnings. I think the services are already on the way on how do we augment ourselves in order to address these gaps. So any augmentation of this kind of technology has to be actually with the capability building inside, in the companies essentially. So, for example, I talk about the radars, which is our one of the core areas. So the company, we are the company which is run by me and Raju. We are ex-DRDO. So the R&D is in the DNA of the company. So, so that's the DNA of the company. So today we have about 220 people exclusively working only on the R&D of the counter drone system.
Wonderful. I think that's the approach.
So if somebody is talking about that, a product has to be built, it just can't happen. So this is like, last 7-8 years we have been building the blocks. That's how today we have reached this stage. As a private company in 2022, we have taken up a challenge to build a private company indigenously, developing a radar and then producing it. We did the entire design of the radar, rotating radar within 1.5 years and then deployed it almost to 25 sites. So today we have delivered 100 of such radars in the, to the services, and then we have also exported these systems. That is the kind of capability that we have built. But it's whether it is fortunate or unfortunate, like you were talking about the collaborations. So we have an excellent ecosystem. So we just not stopped there. So today we are working on the state-of-the-art SR radars also. So especially for the drone detection systems. Again, if I build it, the product is going to be ready in the next 1 or 2 months. So by November we have the trials planned for the armed forces. So this is again gives a lot of competitive edge for the country. At the same time, a lot of competitive edge for our own services.
What is your timeline for your radar when people would like to say? So what?
November, end of the November.
That you are saying for testing, or that you are saying operationalization?
This is a prototype which is ready for field trials.
So after field trials, how much time do you think this can be made available to him or anybody?
Yeah. We can make it available to anybody within 6 months.
So 6 months. So
we can take the orders from then and then start producing it.
Wonderful.
6 to 8 months is the realization time.
So what is so special about your radar? This radar from the past?
There is nothing special about this kind of radar. So it is all about
basically for
engineering.
Drone first.
Yeah, this is only ensuring that drone detection is a challenge with the radar.
So you are trying to solve
rotating radar has a inbuilt a bit of disadvantage. I will not say it is.
So
not
others
suitable,
who are not followed him, he is developing an ISA radar.
So when you wanted, when you wanted, let us say, the hard kill solutions to be precisely guided, so we need a bit of accuracy, which is normally we miss it at the rotating configurations.
How do you place, how do you intend to compete your radar vis-a-vis Israelis or the American radars?
See, when I look at the competition, always as a company, what we like at it is, we are our own competitors. So I always tell my team that where were we at 2 years ago and where are we today? Okay. Eventually we reach there. So today if you want me to compare this product is as good as what these Indian forces are right now buying in few quantities. Probably some
from global OEMs you're saying?
From the Israelis.
From the Israelis.
From
so
the
it's
Israelis.
competitive.
It will match.
Excellent.
It will match the performance of that system in terms of all aspects. In terms of the performance, in terms of the cost, in terms of the weight, size, all these things. It will match the performance of the system. So I don't think we should be able to, think of these foreign systems, probably at least in the counter-drone domain to that extent. Because if you look at, we are the, as a company, we had a very, very unique position. The reason is, there are not many companies who have done the radars, have done the RF detection systems and
How do you think your company will allow your system to be given to Adani's or Reliance or anybody other or Tata's?
See, as
are
long
they
as
open to the sort, your radar being used along?
We are open. In fact, I have told Adani also, take our systems and then incorporate.
No, I'm saying we generally have a tendency to hold back when you find we have.
I don't have. See,
okay.
We have already supplied an anti-drone, our RF detection system to
Adani. Perfect.
We have already given it to them.
So now I'll just.
So for future systems, we would request them to No, they can go ahead with our systems, need not consider the foreign solutions at all. So the products are ready. In fact, any...
But you have to meet their expectations.
Yeah, they have used it already, that's what I'm saying.
No, I am devil.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, now I have, Nagendra, I've been, we had a chat long back when you were working on some system, civil system, urban air mobility. So we have a acquaintance. I spent evening with him trying to understand what he was developing, and suddenly he disappeared. So suddenly I see him today. I said, "Aap kahan se prakat hue?" So what now coming to this stage, having traveled so much, where do you find Indian industry? And what is your recommendation? And lastly, I'll be asking about your views on what you should tell the Indian Army, okay? Keep those questions ready, one line or one phrase answer. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon to all. First, I'm a strong believer of a metaphor called only thrones can take away another thrones.
Only?
Thrones can take away another thrones. Likewise, only drones can take another drones out.
Wonderful.
All right. So this is what we are trying to do at Zulu Defense. Here in this field for a very long time, we are making.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. They are also trying to follow your philosophy. No, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
I was following the Pakistani. They conduct competition. They insist. There are two competitors. They started a UCAP project where two drone companies competed, despite having the public sector, private sector, and some known companies. And this is a small country which is very closely, led by the Pakistan military. But they insisted two companies competed. So I'm happy you are working on technology. And I'm sure some of the complementarities will
definitely
appear.
More than a competing, I would like to tell you some of my previous panelists, they talked about cat and mouse game. What we are trying to do is, what if cat and mouse plays a strategy together? That's what we did, teaming up with Indrajal. We are developing together some cool stuff. Sorry. Yeah. So we teamed up with Indrajal. We are trying to develop some cool stuff. So the predominantly...
Before that you had competed?
No, not at all. So currently I think why I wanted to talk about drones only can take the rogue drones out. There are way and means to it. We cannot take a sub 10 lakh drones using a cruise missile of 5 crores.
That we all agree.
Yep. So we need to have a more matured AI capable edge drones which can take another drone. That's what we are doing it. So just to give an idea what we are building interceptor drones which can travel beyond 5 kilometers and try to just do a kinetic strike as well as the airburst to actually take out the swarms of drones. That's the one area that we are working. The second area what we are working at the moment is something like, again, this panel, I think someone touched upon the LMG. We went one step ahead. Very recently, we have proven to Indian Army that MMG can be airborne. So today we are doing a burst round of shots using MMG. This is one of the potent weapon ever made in India, which has a 2 kilometer range, which is tested reasonably for a defense use. So this now we are actually airborning, which gives a capability, the system can travel all the way beyond 5 kilometers and you can actually do the swarms, rogue swarms intercepting.
Wonderful.
And additionally, I think he was talking about some radar.
Yeah.
Anything on any radars, I can airborne because now we found out a method that like any jamming or any kind of signal will not affect my own mother drone. That's a concept that we are working. Those are some area that we are working at the moment.
Thank you. Now my question to all of you, including my panelists, which I'll come to them later. What are the problems you face in developing an ammunition? What are the problems you face in testing an ammunition? What are the problems you face in testing a jammer or developing a jammer? And what is your solution? If you don't have a solution, keep it for later. Problems, all of us will tell. If you have a solution, I think it will add more value, but one line answer. Anyone has, keep it ready. And is anyone ready with the question? Otherwise, I'll ask my panelists. So, is Mike ready? Please. My only question, my only humble request is, I'm really appreciative of you, all of you waiting when lunchtime is already on. But endeavor is to find solutions while we are well past our time. So in the interest of others' interest, please keep it short. So take time to articulate. If you don't have to be the first one. I will take the last one also, as long as your line is one. Please go ahead.
So my question is to Captain Rituraj Tyagiji.
He will not answer now. I will follow my previous
Anyone
chair.
from the panel may
He
go
said
ahead.
all the questions one line answer.
So I have a one-line question, and I would appreciate one phrase or 5 points answer. You spoke about the need for a AI solution which can automate decision-making in critical moments and enable a swifter defense response. So in case we have to develop that kind of AI solution, what 5 key elements you would want that AI solutions to have? 1, 2, 3 in kind of 1, 2 words, if you.
So you
highlight.
note down. You can note down. I'll just take the questions. Please note down. My panelists may note down the points.
Sir, Ravi Agrawal this side. Everyone knows the Lebanon pager blast. Lebanon pager blast. So my question is, how many patents are granted in anti-UAV technologies, either by Adani Research or?
भैया गलत जगह पूछ रहे हो. We don't have data.
Okay.
But फिर भी if somebody has, they might answer.
Okay. Next is integration of drone detection technologies across the army, CAPFs, and other units.
Sorry.
Integration of drone detection technologies, so we can know which is a state actor, which is a non-state actor.
Okay. Excellent. People have been. Please bring it here.
My question is to Ashok. I just want to know what is the indigenous content of your anti-drone system, and what are the timelines we are looking at when a fully fledged, tested, certified anti-drone system can be fielded for the Indian Armed Forces?
So you just keep it to yourself, but it will be interesting to know what kind of. Please go.
My question is to you and AVM Rajiv Ranjan. That there is a system to use the spectrum. Now, there's a lot of talk which is going about denying the spectrum. So is there a tri-service, some kind of a thought process which is going on when it comes to denying the spectrum?
Thank you. Anybody else? देख लो पीछे कोई बचा तो नहीं. Good. हाँ. Okay. Please, if any, Ashok ji, if you can start.
Yeah. So we deployed our first anti-drone system in border security force. It's already operational. It's got around 10 to 12 kilometer detection and jamming capability. Our second system, which is mounted system on a vehicle, that's also operational. We did trials initially ourselves with LMG, like I mentioned. We've just won a couple of contracts to be deployed with Navy and Air Force. So we will be supplying them. And indigenization, we are more than 60%. Some places we are more than 70% indigenous.
Ashok ji, here again, indigenization, when we talk, have you started talking in terms of systems, or you are still going by cost?
No, systems.
Systems. You are dividing into subsystems.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I look forward to that, because that will make more sense than what we have.
Absolutely. So radars is something which we need to. As of now, we are getting radars outside. We are looking at some partners who can provide us with radars, because that will be required, and that's what we have already been discussing. So
Excellent. Sir, you have something to add? Anything? Yeah, your question. Everything is open now. You can add something short.
So regarding the question regarding the AIs making the decision support system. So today, in any situation, the main problem which comes to everyone is handling the data. The data is so much that all your sensors, like in ground, of course, you can have a luxury of having many things. I'm a pilot, done 3 decades of flying and test flying on LCA. So the main thing, what is that data need to be deciphered in the quickest of time, right? And based on all your data, you initially make an algorithm based, and then you test that system, refine that system, right? And the decision support will not replace the human being. Finally, it will give you a solution. The trigger will remain with the human being, right? As for the foreseeable future is.
That will
maybe tomorrow it may change.
That will accept.
So when you detect a target, especially in this kind of a requirement, if you have good sensors, then you will detect a target which need to be handled at 5 kilometers, at 20 kilometers. That's good for you. And meanwhile, while the target progresses, the AI will tell you that whether initial assessment of it was right or wrong. While a human being may get stuck, that if he identifies as let's say 15 kg class carrying this weapon, he'll get stuck. But AI doesn't have that kind of bias. So it will refine that, and the more situation is handled.
But AI can have its own errors also.
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah. So errors, the error rate, the main thing is the error rate of human may not reduce, it will reduce with training, with reduce with time. But AI reduction of error is exponential, right? Another thing is that a human being encounters 10 situations. While in AI, you can feed the situations encountered in other places, you can feed it 100 situations. So that's the biggest advantage that, and if you have nations which are participating in this thing, right? Like for example, identifying an air-to-air missile, what kind of thing should be done is one of the most difficult tasks. So, but if you have all the missile characteristics in the world which are produced, right, and rightfully their thing mapped, then you can devise a solution for that. And same thing that AI, I learn what I see, but AI, you can make AI see much more than feed the data. And I think, Nautiyal, you have something to add to it.
So I know you're taking lost time, but again, I'll just emphasize on my panelists, please be short. I want all of you to add, but be short. Please, sir.
Tyagi sir is senior to me and he taught me a lot. So ma'am, you can note down. It will require edge pre-processing. It will require federated fusion of layers and information. It will require threat solving models, which will have behavior models, platform classifiers, and intent eliminators. It will have decision policy engines, which is important going into the future. It will require human interface and override, and it will require logging and telemetry. What you will do in edge will be decided, and what you will do on the cloud will be decided. Having said this, you know, the foreseeable fantastic future will be an optical swarm with 6 directions of noting down what is there and then sticking to your position. That is the dream. If it comes true in 3 months, we are going to win the next war. Last but not the least, you know, in all of us there are these 6 people. The first are academics. You know, academics are the PhD types. Second are operators who have nothing to do with what is going on in the drone. If the drone flies, they are happy with it. There are scientists and technicians who are doing fantastic and producing excellent systems. But then there are these operators who are not interested in what is being created because they want to save themselves in that 1.5 seconds when the bullet will come. There are DGCA types who are absolutely as per policy and will stick to the policy. And then there is industry and R&D, which has nothing to do with what is going on in DGCA. In all of us, these 6 individuals exist. And that is a problem for the drone industry. Please remember that. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will pass on my question to sir.
Before I answer your thing, I have a rudimentary solution. Go back to World War II. We had a balloon barrage system for air defense. Around the airfield, they had steel wires and the balloons hanging onto that. So today we can make that system as intelligent one, wherein you have these balloons which minus the cable etc. which is supposed to carry buoyancy. So 150 odd kg of payload it should carry, which is essentially autonomous body, a standalone kind of a thing, has a sensor, has got interceptor drone, has got a laser pod, it has got a jammer and spoofer, and it has got maybe you want to mount gun or the rocket. Maybe this kind of a solution around a base, 1 or 2 of them, and tomorrow Narang would say, why don't you tie a steel wire across and the net across so that usko machli ki jaal mein pakdo drone. So those, the very simple solutions. All the technologies are there, you have to integrate them. Right. The next thing is, we have heard Hydra 70 mm rocket, laser guided rockets. So just change the laser guidance with some other payload, and can their
it has some maneuvering capability, but can you give little more the way you have given to Igla missile? So you have a shorter range Igla, because somebody developed Igla shoulder fired, big and costly one. But this kind of a Hydra and those kind of thing, automated on the vehicle, those guidance, and they are the low cost, 1,000 instead of $1 million, $1,000 or MDO, multi-domain operation AI. Anyone who wants to work on that, please come down. Essentially, towards that, there is a concept called as I2D2CS, Integrated Information Domain Dominance and Control System, something armed forces are working on. There is something called as DeFi, Defense AI Foundry, which has been raised at IISc Art Park. Please go down there. All the AI convergence is happening there. Supercomputer, one is at CNC stage, 30 petaflop, and exaflop, 2 of them public facing and secure environment. Public facing, we have said to the government for defense, please don't charge from startup and those kind of a thing. So at IISc. Now coming to last one, spectrum denial. There is something called a small form factor LN system, 20 to 50 kg. It does beautifully all the 0.5 to 40 gigahertz. Thereafter, there is an AI developed onto that to categorize, synthesize, and all the thing is there. And then eventually we need not only the jammer, the same jammer which can do 2 more additional purpose. Because you are sensing, so why don't you do LN task for me? Give me what is the signal and those characterization. Also, if you can emit something, why don't you become a decoy? Why don't you say that I have S-400 or Akash missile new, or the new generation surface-to-air missile has come with the same. Why can't we be Chanakya to defeat the defeat the Sun Tzu?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Your question about CAPF integration. In fact, I had the same question in the morning. It's a gap. It's a gap I'm sure people are being aware of.
Yes, it may appear there is a gap. At the bottom level, at the working level, they have some kind of a mechanism to flow of the information so that the fratricide doesn't happen. Also, there are certain procedural SOPs are there, who moves ahead, who moves behind, what they do. So there is some amount of integration is happening, but to make it happen much more automated, that is what we are working on, the multi-domain I2D2CS concept.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Last line, one line now.
I just want to address your.
Yes.
Just want to address your primary question.
Yes.
Let's say if we have to evaluate these technologies, we have to basically we need some kind of a, like if you look at survivability or mobility, there's a good amount of test centers. But in terms of drones and anti-drone systems, we need a some innovative, some testing centers.
Jamalji, this is a recommendation.
Yeah.
So your team is noting. So only one person has used that opportunity. Others are big people. So I think
one more point is the way the services are thinking about the counter drone systems. The moment you deploy a small system, it will be able to do magic. Is something which we'll have to give a awareness that it is not so. Okay. You deploy a system, it can still miss a target. Possibilities are there because it depends on a lot of.
So I think there is more realization needed at the user level. Yeah. So I think we need to educate the user also, because we are used to using the global platform. The expectations from us can be unrealistic. So it is a challenge all of you will be facing. So be prepared for it. I keep telling people, if a foreigner can sell the same product to an Indian, if you are not able to sell it, please introspect. Something which you are not doing. Please go ahead.
So last recommendation, I think someone highlighted that India R&D spend is 0.5% to 0.6%, whereas globally it is going up to 6%. I think Colonel Kuber was telling, like, a lot of startups are here, they are actually putting a lot of money, they're selling the house. I completely agree and respect his thought, but the procurement also need to cope up with a startup. Currently, the procurement.
So there's a review of DAP going. Please keep writing to them on this, because remember, this is also part of a startup, because you are alone here, small parts. So I take
That's all, sir. It has to be a startup-friendly procurement cycle also.
Thank you very much. I want you to give a a big round of applause to our team, and thanks to PhD CCI for being patient despite being late. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sirs, for having this important and meaningful session. Now, I would request Dr. Nasir Jamal, Director, PhD CCI, to kindly facilitate our esteemed panelists and speakers with a memento. Air Vice Marshal Rajiv Ranjan, sir. Group Captain Rajiv Kumar Narang. Air Commodore Aman Nautiyal. Group Captain Rituraj Tyagi. Shri Ashok Vadavan. Shri Rajkumar Pandey ji. Dr. Nagendra Babu. Shri Nagendran ji.
We'll have a group picture. Yes, sir.
Now lunch is open for all. That is outside the hall.